Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 236, Saturday, January 25th, 2025. Early in the afternoon, bit later recording than usual. That's my teenage son and co-host, Jack, over there, coughing a little bit.
I think it's just when you drink something weird, you know.
Peace tea.
I'm not sick.
No, I don't know. You're not sick, which is nice. But we're going to talk about another week of wrestling. AEW Dynamite, NXT, Monday Night Raw. A little bit of TNA, believe it or not. I watched
not for good reasons, though.
No, I watched a bit of pay-per-view and
actually good reasons
show.
and not.
True. Even you liked something on TNA this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any SmackDown highlights we'll get to.
I have something news related from SmackDown.
I was telling you
nothing from there.
Okay, that's fine. We can throw it in news because I have a couple TNA
It is actually
things.
newsworthy, and you'll see why, because I purposely didn't tell you.
All right, nice. I haven't been spoiled on anything. And I was telling you the trivia is kind of mean this week, but
love it.
I still think you'll do well, but it's not friendly of me to do, so we'll get into
When
that.
is it ever?
Right. I guess the first thing we need to update people is your mother seems to be on the mend from the concussion that you laughed at her for.
Hey, you laughed at her too.
I mean, yes, it's definitely back to more normal.
And you good marriage has making fun of each other's misfortune.
That's true, I guess so. But still not 100%, but definitely
functional.
Not asleep all the time and functional and going about. So this is interesting. We're also recording right now without any internet in our house because we're switching providers.
Back in the caveman ages when they would record podcasts
and your mom was
in
like,
a cave, you know?
Because it looked like this was when we were going to be recording, right? So she was like, do you need internet to record? And I'm like, do I need internet to record?
Probably to upload it, but...
That's it. And to access
by then we'll be
our
fine.
Documents, right? So we had to change the settings to be able to edit them offline, which I
Yeah.
did. But yeah, the recording of the audio and the video I don't need. So that's good to know. So it's still happening, but no one will know. It'll just be put out a little later than normal. You had a couple exams you said went well. Math and English. Kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, but you were happy with both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I finished with an 85 in math, which is up 15 from last year. So
Awesome.
I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. You already know that's your mark?
Yeah, I looked at it.
Sweet. Good job. Yeah, that's great news. Your brother in grade 9 had his first exams, which I think went okay. I guess we'll find out. Geography, he was allowed to take a cheat sheet in. So
Yeah, well, because why not coddle everybody? I mean, I had it too, but like
I know.
it's
I mean,
just with how school works now.
Sometimes the cheat sheet, though, like the power of it is by the time you fill in the cheat sheet, you actually studied. It's like tricks you into studying.
It does, but then it's also like you have a crutch in your test. Cause
you do.
My math test would be a lot easier if I had a crutch.
And sometimes as well, the teacher will be like, I can ramp it up a little because they have a cheat sheet or it's open book or whatever, right? So then if you don't have that ready, you could be in trouble.
And it's like, I get it. I guess I get it for grade 9 to kind of ease them into it, and then hopefully in grade 10 they don't, because like, I mean, realistically, you shouldn't have one.
Some courses will, I think, maybe.
Well, yeah, because like
know.
when I did, or if it's, I think the real cheat is if it's open book. Cheat sheet's a little kind of like your halfway point.
Yeah, because you got to squeeze it on there and prioritize stuff.
Yeah, and usually the teacher has to check it over, or like.
True.
It reminds me, grade 9 was easy because remember the de-streamed math now?
Yes.
And like, that's a joke. It's
Your brother's experiencing that, right? Is it still a thing?
To be, yeah. I think grade
Pretty
9
sure.
it is for sure. And then grade 10's once they start splitting you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And your brother, speaking of him, he went to an escape room last night with friends and they escaped. But he was saying going in, he said only 38%, I think it was, of people escape. And I won't name him, but he felt that one of his friends was going to hold them back quite significantly. So, but they ended up escaping despite. And I said, so was that friend? And he's like, no, he was the way he is, but we figured it out anyways, kind of thing. So
yeah, that's fair.
I think he had fun doing that. I don't know, anything else new and exciting?
No.
We should get into it.
So. I guess we'll be going to, we'll see how we record next weekend because we're going to
right. We're
Smash.
out all day. We're going to watch Smash. I think we mentioned it.
We're
going to watch
watching the Rumble there.
Smash Wrestling at the Rec Room, which is like a family grown-up Chuck E. Cheese, kind of, for lack of a better term.
It's
Dave
and Buster's.
Yeah. And then they convert their back bar into a pretty decent wrestling venue.
Oh, if we went earlier, I could play some games too, because I still have the cards from when me and Nate went with Phil.
We can try to be there earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I booked the days off, so we can just do whatever.
Then they clear out their ring, put on the Royal Rumble, and everybody that's there can just stay for free.
It's actually kind of smart, 'cause you were saying what GCW had a show that night, right? It's like, why would you run in competition with the Rumble, right?
Right, because I would 100% go to GCW.
Right. But now
it's the
we're not
Rumble.
because we'd be watching the Rumble. But Smash plays it really smart in doing a show in a decent spot.
I think
and
it's like 3 o'clock.
Giving you the Rumble, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't have Netflix or the network, or even if you just want to go to wrestling and still watch the Rumble, you can, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a smart way to run it.
And I'm hoping to run into the boys from Poison Rana again, obviously.
I imagine you would, because that's where you met them, right?
The first time, I think. And then we saw them at TNA as well.
Okay, yeah.
So they're good dudes. So I'm hoping. Last time we saw them, they had just done they were exhausted because they'd done the climbing the CN Tower that they do for charity, I think. So I think they had come from doing it that day, which I can't imagine.
I'm not doing that ever.
But anyways, good for them. But yeah, let's turn this thing around, start talking about some wrestling. We got a bunch to get through, so we'll do that now. First segment, it's news. It's also rumors. Taking a look at ratings first, NXT still holding really good numbers. 812,000 viewers, up 4.2%. Earned a 0.22 in the key demographic, up 29.4%. So really strong numbers again on CW continue. Do you know how it works? Can only Americans are watching it on CW? And do they have to watch it on CW?
I think so.
Right? Because we have it on Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's international. Everyone gets it on Netflix. And then in the U.S., because they're making deals with U.S. networks,
right. They have to.
They're beholden to the
exclusive
networks in there.
Gotcha.
But that's because I think they're able to put it on here on Netflix everywhere else because, like, we don't have the CW.
Right. That's what I thought.
We don't have USA Network, right? Because even if they were on TV, they wouldn't be on those networks, right? Because they're definitely signing independent deals.
That's
so I'm going to assume part of Netflix's deal was they'd get it everywhere else except for where they've already contracted their shows.
I think so.
And honestly, if they could get more money out of it, when those TV contracts are up, I wouldn't even be surprised if NXT and SmackDown went to Netflix just full throttle, right?
They're very happy, apparently, Netflix, with the way things are going so far.
Seems to be good.
So my thing was that these numbers are still the same, you know what I mean, measurement as they were before.
Yeah.
It's not like there's even more people because some of them are watching Netflix now.
No, these are
I guess unless they're using VPNs? Question mark?
That's true. But
anyways,
I don't think those would count towards the metric.
No. Dynamite, 655,000, down 3.5%. 0.19 in the key demographic, which is actually up 5.6. And then for this, though, this doesn't include people who are watching Max because you could do either in the States, I believe.
That's true.
So that means, like, I don't know how meaningful these numbers are. I don't know how many people would be watching it on Max, but not zero.
I was saying to you we should get Max soon so we can start watching.
We'll see.
The back stuff. I mean, if you cancel that, just sub that in for what you would have paid for the network.
The network's gone. It's
so now
freed up.
Now it's like you just got rid of the network and now you're gonna replace with one you like better. So
we'll
think
see.
about it that way.
You never know.
Is it me then?
Yeah.
So the big news that's been in the week is that Britt Baker seems to be out.
Yeah.
PW Torch's Wade Keller was talking about it, saying that she might be done. He said the feeling he's getting is that
people are like
Tony Khan has her in like the category of like the people who don't get calls, a la Ricky Starks.
Yes. And that could do stuff somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like Phoenix and Starks and her.
Right. Phoenix is one I forgot. Yeah. There's a lot of frustration. Apparently, like one person said no one wants to see her come back. Which is
I hear she's not beloved, but also then she came out and said like one of the things was that she cheated on Adam Cole, and she said she never did.
So at least there's not that, which is good because Adam Cole's my boy. But yeah, that's one person's perception at least, and so apparently there's some issues. So obviously there was the issue with MJF and Alicia too way back, right? That was the whole thing. I think it was around All In. So I remember she got suspended for a couple weeks before her match with Monet.
Yes.
So I remember they kind of worked into the story, right?
Yep.
Monet got her suspended in kayfabe. There's that, and then apparently there was some other incident that may have been the straw that broke the camel's back. So, and I think part of the sentiment for Tony Khan, which is understandable, is that like she was on top at a point where like she was the biggest deal there. Now it's like we have a lot of other big female stars. Love her or hate her, Monet is a big one, right? I think Willow's pretty big. Mariah May is pretty big.
Huge.
Storm's been big over the last year.
Should be.
Statlander should be
close to it.
If we get Megan Bain,
yeah,
right. She's also big, so like she's not as necessary. And so if she's gonna be difficult to work with, I can understand that they wouldn't want to do that. And so it kind of sucks because I didn't imagine she would be, but she did have a top spot for so long, and a lot of people get overprotective about that, right? I mean, Hogan.
Her heel
But
character work was awesome.
it was great. She was the best. I don't like that she's not being used, but like I said, if I'm Tony Khan, I understand
I
that,
get
right?
it.
If she's too difficult and you have other people who aren't difficult and can be utilized just as well, then I totally get that. And it does kind of fuel the fire of AEW having a tumultuous backstage environment. Because like there's numerous incidents with her. There's Punk, obviously. It kind of reminds me of that on a lesser level,
Hmm.
which sucks because I like her. But I did see a picture of her and Punk together, like from
Yeah.
way back. So and I was saying to you, the one thing that this kind of highlights to me is when Asset Osprey is, because he seems to be a top guy without this kind of ego,
Yes.
without these kind of problems, who seems to be kind of selfless when he needs to be. He's not overprotective of his standing. Like he lost a Swerve just to help him out.
Well, now I hear people going like he's lost too much.
I don't think so.
Me either.
He lost a Darby, which was a cool surprise. He lost a Fletcher, which helped one of his friends in a big way. I think he knows when he should lose, right? I think the Darby one you could argue he could have won there, and because it was just a tournament match. But honestly, it was a tournament, so I don't mind like an upset there,
Mhm.
right? But like with Fletcher and Swerve, I think he's good at losing when he needs to be. And so to have a top guy that's as good as he is at everything, but also willing to help other people out is a really big asset. So
Well, and it's job security. You're not likely to be like, well, even though she's great and whatever, we're better off without her.
exactly, right? That's the kind of the point where that with Baker, and I don't see that them reaching that point with Osprey. This is if he's as good, because honestly, by all accounts, he seems like a great dude. So
Yeah.
if he's as good as he is and he's not difficult to work with, I think he's got even more staying power than he
That's
would
right.
based on
You would,
his
for
talent,
sure.
right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's an interesting scenario for sure. And apparently, I just saw she has like years left on her contract.
Yeah.
So she's not being used. She's done for a while,
A long time.
which is kind of crazy.
Cashing checks for doing nothing, though, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, I did see Ricky Starks was working GCW, so I don't know if maybe she's allowed to run.
Depends on her contract, right?
Right.
If she can do indies
She
or
might
not.
be okay there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Somewhat similar lines. I'll even
Okay.
skip to this story because it's related. Did you hear about the Alexa Bliss stuff?
I did. I heard something about it.
So that they're basically with WWE at an impasse, contract-wise.
I thought they were going to bring her back,
on
right?
Raw.
And then they want to keep her on her current deal. She wants a new deal, right?
Correct. And so the reason this is one of those, it doesn't usually work out well for the performer because, especially back in the redacted area, he would just nobody was bigger than the company in the business, right? And it didn't matter pretty much.
Yeah.
And she would certainly not be one that's undeniably like going to
No,
get her
I thought
way.
her heel work as like the goddess character was pretty
She's
good.
not bad at all, but she's not at the
worst
level
in the
where
ring,
she can
but-
dictate her contract.
No, I don't think so. Especially because
She's not Brock Lesnar, redacted. Sorry.
yeah, and I think her work in the Triple H era has been pretty mediocre too. Like ever since she got out of the Bray Wyatt stuff, she's been kind of bland. Like she was just a
Mhm.
bland baby. You remember her and Asuka being tag champs for a week or two?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
I
That's
vaguely
surprising.
remember them being a thing.
Right? So there's that, like just random crap like that. And even her Bray Wyatt work was okay.
Yes.
I didn't like it, Lily and whatnot.
Oh my God, yes. So the thing is that apparently she was supposed to return in San Jose, but they wanted, enhanced perks and renegotiate. And then, no. They were like, no. And that's usually how it goes. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with that.
This is minor, but I did want to note it because it's awesome. Is the first AEW show in Australia? Of course, we got confirmed the future
Oh, here
greatest
it is.
tag match ever.
Yeah.
Osprey and Omega versus Fletcher and Takeshita. And
You
man,
put that in your news, eh?
I did. It's so great. It's like
Yeah, that
and
should be
this,
awesome.
Like on paper, that's just why I can't have AEW dying out because
Yes.
that's just
They have the
beautiful.
people we enjoy for sure.
And like that's WWE's not giving me anything like that. And
Nope.
so I'm super excited for that. Like that could be I'll talk about it later, but that could run away with match of the year if they do it well enough.
You
But,
would
like,
think
if
tag match, it's
if it's good enough, dude, I'll put it in anything.
for sure. I love tag team wrestling. So
Tag team wrestling, and it's not even like tag team wrestling, but like still, it's gonna
Mhm.
be great. So I'm super excited for that. It needs to honestly. It doesn't look like they're gonna put Mox on that card
that's fine.
because it's not a pay per view. So
Fine by me.
give it the main event spot, and you give it the time it deserves.
Yeah.
Because honestly, with this not being a pay per view, we have an opportunity to not load it up with a bunch of matches, which is fine. I don't mind like a AEW show the size of a WWE PLE because
Mhm.
I think WWE PLEs are honestly a little too under serving on matches
Mhm.
nowadays. But for this, like AEW could maybe do 5-6 matches on this. Maybe again because it's on TNT and Max.
6 max would be great.
I think 6 is a fair max. It depends on what time they're given, given the fact that it's on TNT, right? So I don't know, but I'd want like half an hour minimum for this, and it'll be amazing.
It should be. I don't know if it'll get that much. I hope it does.
I should, because otherwise, why are you wasting my time?
What are we even doing here?
What are we doing?
The rest of my stuff is TNA related,
Okay.
so we don't have to bring it up. The debut, and you can talk about the details of the debut because you thought it was interesting. So, the new digital media champion.
Right.
Go ahead.
I guess not even a debut. It's just like
no, the debut of her boyfriend is.
Oh, right.
It's all related. It's all the goodness
dumb.
together.
So we want to go over the PCO stuff first.
Yeah,
because I don't even know if we talked about it.
I don't even. He just is gone. What precipitated that?
I don't honestly. I'm still kind of fuzzy on it, but like his contract's done, and I guess he felt disrespected by the parent company or something. So he went on GCW's show, the People vs. GCW, their Hammerstein show they're running.
Heard it was terrible.
After I heard like apparently their last show in the Hammerstein was horrible too.
Really bad.
I didn't know this one was bad, but I heard their first one was really bad.
And I've checked in with some with GCW, and they had some entertaining stuff. But
I mean, maybe we could watch it if it's that bad.
I know. That's what I was thinking too.
Right? Yeah. But anyways, he had a match. I don't know what match it was. Don't care. Then after the match, he like put the title on a chair, failed to smash it numerous times, and like tried cutting an anti-TNA promo before they cut it off.
Right.
So I thought he was like, it was a shoot. I thought he destroyed the belt. Apparently, he was given a replica, which would explain why the belt was fine on TNA TV. Mm-hmm. But so he's done. He did that. That in a certain conduct.
Yeah.
And so I guess like it's burning your bridge there, for sure. And then on TNA,
because the last angle he was in, he had gotten married to Steph DeLander, and
there was the
injured.
23 stuff going on.
And which was
it
all just at him and dovetails beautifully into cinema.
So the mastermind behind these 23 vignettes, which again I don't know the meaning of 23, it still doesn't make sense.
Remember the one time the speculation was it was the second and third letter of the alphabet, so it was Baron Corbin.
That was kind of funny. That was kind of funny. He had a match on that show too. It was the Bloodsport with Barnett.
What's his real name now?
Tom Pestock.
Right. I still will be like, who's that? I guarantee for a couple months.
Sorry, unrelated briefly. I was reading that like apparently him and he thinks, and even Orton agrees with him, that someone doesn't like him. They're holding him back creatively on SmackDown because they definitely could have done more with him because he got popular with the Wolf Dogs.
And he's not a super worker, but that's not a.
They don't care about that anyways.
No, not much.
So I would agree with that because I don't know why he wasn't a bigger success there. He was either a heat magnet or he got popular.
Him just terrible stuff.
They gave him, but like once he got to do his own thing or was given better stuff, he was actually enjoyable. So I would be inclined to agree because I don't know why he's being held back. Anyways, Steph DeLander shows up on TNA. She's the mastermind behind these pointless vignettes. She has the TNA Digital Media title. Why? Because her and PCO got divorced and she won the title in the divorce.
It's amazing. It's opening the worst.
I'm so not kidding when I feel like that is so Russo.
It is amazing.
Like that, you could pluck that and put it in 2000 WCW, and like, it's there. You know what I mean? Good. Like, wasn't David Flair with Stacy Keibler or something? Right? I think that was one of the stories, right? And didn't that lead to the Viagra on a pole match?
I think so. Yeah.
Right. So I know Flair had the U.S. title at some point. Let's just, for example, you combine those two stories and they split and Stacy Keibler wins the US title in the divorce. Like I could see Russo doing that 100%. Not even different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. And so she wins the title in the divorce and now she has a new boyfriend and it's Mance Warner. And to zero reaction.
I watched TNA, almost all of it. I didn't bother watching the main event, but I watched everything else. Like nobody knew who this dude was. Or if they knew, they certainly didn't care.
I know who he is. I don't care.
I've seen him wrestle. I told you I've seen him in MLW.
He was on AEW once too. Like he was on Rampage or something.
I've seen him in MLW.
He's an MLW GCW guy.
I told you this may as well have been me that walked in there. I think I would have got a very similar reaction, right? So
it's so stupid for so many reasons. And then so she said she's in champion because she got the belt in the divorce. But then he's holding up the title after they beat up Sam McCallahan.
So she giving it to him.
Because
they've had a woman with that belt before.
Jordan Grace had it, right?
So it's not out of the question.
But
so just like
I'm confused for multiple reasons.
This guy does not have a chance now, I don't think. Like this is your debut.
And okay, it's stuff like this where I laugh then when people are saying like TNA is gonna overtake AEW as number 2. I'm like, dude, not with shit like this.
It's like, yep, I'm back and my husband's gone, so that's why I have the belt and here's my new boyfriend. What? What? And I think he's the champion now? I don't know.
It makes no sense for so many reasons. And I guess we can mention too that they have the multi-year partnership like official now.
Yes, with which I think is good.
Which is cool. It's crazy because they went from ignoring and
they
belittling
don't exist.
TNA,
or yes, at best mock them.
To like now they're full-blown partnership, which is cool.
And a
lot of people think TNA, or people close to the situation are saying WWE will likely end up buying out TNA. I could see it. I don't see the sense in it, to be honest, because what do they gain from it? TV? No. More roster people they don't need, and then like they don't need another developmental territory. You know what I mean?
Although they're kind of
unless they keep it,
they somewhat seem to send the developmental people over.
Although
there.
Now that it's an official partnership, they seem to be like. It seems to be more mutual. I think when it was kind of in its guinea pig phase, they were sending over developmental people like Sol Ruka and Wendy Chu and whatever, right? But now I think that it's like an official partnership. It's like a little more secure. That's why they're sending like Fraxium there and Cora Jade, who is
a mega star.
They want to develop for sure, but also someone more established in NXT. So it's not like they're sending Bright Gray there.
Right,
you know what I mean?
How dare you?
So I do think they're going to start sending over more worthwhile people. Like I could see now it being more likely that we'd see like Trick Williams or D'Angelo.
And like no quarter catch crew tag team level guys, OTM.
Right. They were there too, right?
They were. And I think we were talking about it's a better fit than it was with AEW just because it feels like NXT and TNA are more similar level.
And yeah, because I think it will be mostly NXT, right? I don't see it being factored in the main roster much because the only time that crossover was the Rumble, right?
Yeah.
I would like to see that sometimes because they have TNA people. Like they just got Machine Guns. They have AJ Styles still. The Good Brothers.
Amazing.
There's other people. Bobby Roode's backstage. So I was going to say him, but they don't have Samoa Joe anymore. So they do have TNA people is my point.
They do.
They'll have more, I guess, because they're getting...
them all.
They're going to... I was saying to you, people... I mean, we've talked about it too, but some complain about AEW usurping a lot of talent from New Japan, which they have.
Yeah.
I don't think WWE and TNA is going to be any different. WWE are already gunning for the top players.
If this were the previous ownership, I would suggest the only reason they're together is so that he can get an inside scoop on all the talent and
that's what the ID program is. But this is like
immediately sign them.
Hey, I'm not convinced that they're not doing that even under this regime.
I'm sure they will.
They're already taken a walking weapon in Jordan Grace. You think they're not gunning for Hendry next?
I know. Whoever's big that when their contracts come up, they just immediately slide over for bigger money.
I mean, pretty much, right? That's what AEW did with New Japan, and that's what's going to happen here.
Let TNA bring in their people from indies or wherever, and then the ones that stick, it's basically like a guaranteed like farm for them.
Hey, I mean, for the town in TNA, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking too. Remember they did those Worlds Collide shows that were kind of cool, but now that they could do that with an actual other world, so to speak, which I think would be kind of cool because you could do now more full blown, and you can even bring in some main roster people. Because I do agree. I think NXT is a decent fit for TNA, but I'd like to see some main roster crossover too, just because it's more interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, why not? You could have some people in there. I don't know who you bring, but like you could also gauge it. Like I would say someone like Chad Gable maybe would be good to throw to TNA because he'd be cool in the X division or something, right?
He would.
But like you can play differently, and also if we could ever get WWE-ified Ultimate X. That'd be awesome.
Phoenix and Ultimate X would be pretty cool.
He would.
Yeah.
Lucha Bros were that they did actually mention, I think it was this week or last week, that Penta is a former TNA champion.
They did. They mentioned Rev Pro this week even.
Which is also
crazy. Sorry, that was all mine off of Mance Warner. So what? Yeah. It's your turn.
So a new match announced for the Royal Rumble. This was announced on SmackDown. This is the surprising thing I wanted to tell you about.
Great.
You want to guess?
Sorry, it's a new match announced.
Yes.
If you give me a hint, men's or women's?
It's men's.
Okay. Anything else?
It is a title match.
On like Raw people I know?
It's SmackDown.
Oh.
So it'll be more
Kevin
difficult.
Owens?
He already has a match.
Oh, right. Who has a title over there?
The most surprising thing you could think of.
Most surprising thing I could think of.
In regards to titles.
So I don't know.
Tag titles made it back to a PLE.
No.
Yeah.
Wasn't even on my radar.
See? And it sounds pretty awesome too. It's DIY Machine Guns 2 or 3 Falls.
Okay. That's cool.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like the Rumble card actually looks pretty decent because we got the Rumble matches. We have this, which I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's all
I'm
right.
happy the tag titles like they haven't been on a PLE since Mania,
I
dude.
wish it were like 8 years ago, but nonetheless.
Yeah. But like this should be pretty awesome, and
Mhm.
if they get enough time, if it's done right, it could be awesome.
Imagine it steals the show, and then it's like that's the catalyst for the tag division coming back a little bit. That'd be great. And then
and it's
then
interesting because you got heel DIY here too.
you get Alexander over here, and away you go.
Yeah, in the North, yeah.
The North
That'd be
reunite and just
That'd be cool.
run everything.
It's just interesting because you have heel DIY here, so it'll be
Yes, that's
different than what we've seen, I guess, in their prime 2 or 3 Falls matches. But
they're all so small though. That'll be such an indie style
Yeah.
thing in main roster.
I know it's gonna be pretty
Wait for
crazy.
people to
It's
love
gonna be
it.
pretty crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen the storyline on SmackDown's kind of interesting. The DIY have this alliance-ish with Pretty Deadly, where they're clearly using Pretty Deadly to try to like
Yeah.
take out Machine Guns. Obviously, it doesn't work because they suck. But I like Pretty Deadly. I'm
Me
just
too.
saying
They
are definitely
they fill a role.
comic relief. I like Pretty Deadly. They're pretty cool. I used to not like them, but
No,
I
they're
do.
once
I do
you
enjoy them.
get what they're doing, it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
and like they're kind of fighting Legato too. I don't know. There's something going on there. It's kind of interesting, at least. And anyways, so that looks pretty good. And then we also have the Rumble match is this, and like Cody and Owens in a ladder match could be pretty good if they actually like
Could
let
be.
them do some cool stuff in that. So honestly, I'm looking forward to the Rumble.
And the
actually.
Rumble itself is stacked. The actual Royal Rumble
I'll
match.
talk about that momentarily as well.
Yeah.
And so since it's a Triple H era, PLE will only get one other match. But as long as that one's good, I think we're looking pretty nice for this. And I guess I'll segue into the Rumble matches just because I had it that Charlotte and Nakamura have
Mhm.
both added themselves to Rumble matches. So glad Charlotte's in there. Doesn't
We got
scare
a
me at
vignette
all.
for her this week on
Yeah.
Raw.
Updated fields for the women. It's not as many people, not as stacked. We have Charlotte, Bayley, Bianca, Naomi, Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, Raquel. I mean, with Charlotte, Bayley, and Belair, that is
It's a
decently
bunch of
stacked.
A-listers.
And you got 2 former champions, I
Yeah.
guess, with Nia and Liv. So it's decent, actually, by their standards. And the men, it's pretty crazy. You have Cena, Punk, Rollins, McIntyre, Nakamura, Zayn, Knight, Uso, Jay, Roman, and Rey Mysterio. So that's pretty
It's
crazy
stacked.
so far. And there's been pitches for a TNA champion to go in there. I'm going to assume Hendry gets in there.
Oh, yeah. And it's not even clear who's going to win, which I like. Like, you could narrow it down to
Cena.
probably a few
Cena.
people.
No doubt in my mind.
You think so?
Like they're not above putting over an older guy. Like
They're not, but
I just was
feel
looking at a thing
strongly?
where they put Edge over in 2021. That was a bad idea.
yeah.
But like it's his final run. He could tie the Rumble record. He could get his title shot against Cody. Like I feel like at the very least he's the most likely pick.
Yeah, might be. I'd have to reflect.
For a surprise entrant, I'm willing to bet on Big E.
Really?
I feel like there's a chance they could have been keeping quiet on it, and I mean,
That'd be crazy. He
it would be
eliminates
perfect.
New Day?
I think it'd be awesome. I don't think it's impossible, and not to spoil picks, but like I will put him down as one of my surprise entrants.
Speaking of which, what does Black Jeans heel Kofi do in the Rumble now?
He doesn't.
Doesn't do anything?
I mean, the last couple times he's kind of fumbled, so I feel like the thing might have died off.
he
'cause
just
there's-
comes in and strikes now. He doesn't do anything. He just like does
Or,
nothing
like-
athletic.
or like he's about to get eliminated, he just drops off and flips off the ground.
Ground and pound. He does
Yeah.
nothing exciting at all.
Yeah.
Another TNA one, Mustafa Ali is back.
That one's actually cool.
Yeah, so he's still doing the same politician character gimmick thing, and he came out in Santana, right?
I think that's a good character for him to do though, because it's a unique kind of thing that hasn't really been done. So
Yeah.
I do like that he's continuing that. And I was
think
saying
he
to
was
you,
doing well with it.
if he crosses back over to NXT, it can work because
Mhm.
he can finally do the character that he kind of got shortchanged
Yeah.
on in NXT, and he doesn't have a different name like Nemeth or Ash by bullcrap.
Oh, she has a tag team partner now,
know.
Heather by whatever.
Yep.
I only have one other one. Do you have any?
2 more. One I just put there out of relief is that AEW is reportedly not planning to book Jeff Jarrett to win the world title.
I would hope not.
I just needed to see it in writing.
Makes you
It's
feel
not that I
better.
don't trust them. It's just I don't fully trust anyone
There's
when it
a
comes to
universe where
nostalgia.
they do.
There's a universe where they do, and when it comes to nostalgia like that, I don't fully trust anybody.
I know.
Because
You
not
got the anti-nostalgia gene.
yeah, right. Not everyone's like that, especially because I hold zero nostalgia for Jeff Jarrett, and all I've seen from him is he sucks.
It's not great.
Like I've never seen Prime Jarrett, and honestly, I don't care to. But this Jarrett sucks.
I'm sure we'll get into it
We
on
will,
Dynamite.
because he sucks, and they won't let me just live my life.
Let me live my life.
And then finally, transfer window swaps. You are clear of Damian Priest and The Miz.
Fine.
So it is kind of interesting because, like,
wow, so they really just pulled the plug on the whole every Karrion Kross storyline.
So it's like, well, they kind of did and they didn't, because this I did see a bit of segment with him and all this. So it's like, obviously he strategically put Wyatt's on SmackDown to get rid of them. Kross was mad about that, so I think it's that Kross pulled strings to get him to SmackDown. You know what I mean? So that he has to deal with it and Kross doesn't.
Yeah, I guess.
So it does kind of
You're
excuse
right.
Kross the storyline.
He has been sort of torturing Miz a little bit.
It does free him of the storyline, but it also kind of furthers it in a way that frees him.
But without
you know what
him,
I mean?
yeah.
So I think it's kind of smart. And it's kind of a nice bit of character work for Kross. I'll give him compliments there. And then A-Town Down Under are going to Raw. So Theory and Waller.
I mean, I like they're super hateable. I just don't.
Waller's
like
good, and Theory's good in the ring.
now.
I do like Theory. I want him to be given another chance, just with a more interesting character, because I do think he's pretty good if we actually put some stock into him.
Yeah.
And I know people talked about. I remember when they were tag champs last year. Crazy. Like they were teasing a Theory face turn, and people were like looking forward to that maybe happening. I'd be okay if they tried that, because honestly, heel Theory was lame the way they did it.
Yeah.
So I think might as well
buried him to his face. I'll never forget that.
Might as well try him as a babyface, right? It's kind of like the reverse of the Roxanne present NXT. They're trying her as a heel to make sure she can do both.
Yeah.
You might as well try Theory as a babyface.
Send him back to NXT even.
I mean, that could work, honestly.
It
could. But yeah, that is all we got.
Last thing I had quickly was Crazy Steve appeared in AEW.
Really? What?
I know. Just because we like him.
I do like him.
And his story is crazy that he's legally blind. If people didn't know.
What do you mean?
So he lost to Serpentico in a dark match.
Oh. I'm just surprised he's even in that.
I was
orbit.
happy he was there, and then I'm like, oh, but he lost? Oh, but he lost to Serpentico? You know what I mean? I went from super happy for him because I think he's pretty good. And
he is good. And
cool
honestly,
story.
dude, as long as he doesn't suck, I'll say he's good for being blind.
Damn, he's incredible. But then it was like, yeah, he lost to Serpentico. Oh, starting at the bottom.
Do we really need to be padding out Serpentico's resume, dude?
Right? Yes, we do.
If it's a dark match, can we not just give the outside guy a win? Like, does it really matter that much?
All right, so that's really it. Now we'll switch into our in-depth review every week. It is looking at Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite. All right, I refilled my coffee, crushed some mini eggs. I'm ready to talk about Dynamite as you wait for your response about connecting to the new internet.
I mean, it might not be working.
I was going to say I'll try and text her too, but my phone is now the webcam, so.
I guess so. Well, I text her on the text message with the Wi-Fi, so she should be able to. But
she will. Not everyone replies to everything all the time.
Well, yeah, you don't.
I do not. I have set that precedent with everyone I know. Could be 5 seconds, could be 5 hours.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
So we kick off with Ospreay and Omega face to face. I think I did all my own notes this week. I don't know why. But
what? TJR, you're putting TJR to business.
Which kind of ended up being good, considering I would have probably pasted them today, which would have been useless.
Why? Oh, yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to get them, and I wouldn't be able to get them on my phone either.
Well, we would have just done it earlier or later. But anyways, go ahead.
Omega, they listened to me. He's back to his old theme. I was telling you, 2 weeks, he's back to his old theme.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I think Ghost Jam, one of our loyal listeners and commenters, is actually Tony Khan. So that's a new gimmick we're working with.
Someone very influential. Maybe he's Ricochet.
Maybe. Yeah, he invented AEW.
So that's who's listening to us, you know?
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Yeah, so they both come out. Ospreay thanks Omega for coming out. He's glad he isn't dead, which I thought was kind of funny. He said he can't remember last time they were in the ring and not fighting. He says he's been trying to change AEW and fight the Chaos Family because he didn't like how they handle business. He said Omega came back at a bad time because Mox is holding the title hostage and he can't fight that battle because Callis and his boys keep meddling. He can't do it alone anymore. Omega cuts him off and reminds him last time they had a match together, he got dropped on his head and Ospreay hit him with the same screwdriver Callis did. He says Ospreay's no better than Callis, and he did it because he was trying to prove he was the best. He said he didn't believe Ospreay was better than him then, and he doesn't now. He says it took diverticulitis for people to know Ospreay existed, and now that he's back, he congratulates Ospreay on being number 2. He said there's no chance in hell he would trust someone like Osprey, and he tells him to listen, or Osprey tells him to listen, but gets cut off by the Callus music, or it's not even music, but the brr,
That's pretty good. That
right?
is what it is. And is there a better word than diverticulitis?
I don't know.
That's
It's
a
pretty
great
good.
word.
Callus calls them both prima donnas, and again, Omega does not let him speak much. He just charges after him, which I think is kind of funny. He just doesn't want to deal with Callus anymore. He's met by Takeshita and Fletcher on the stage. Osprey hesitates but jumps into the fight. Osprey dukes out with Fletcher and they go to the ring. He hits the handspring corkscrew kick to Fletcher, rains down punches in the corner until Takeshita pulls him back and uncorks a massive forearm on him. Omega drills Takeshita with a snapdragon, runs for a tope, but Fletcher cuts him off with a super kick. Brawl spills to ringside. Fletcher boots Osprey over the barricade and just jumps over onto him like cannonball style. The brawl goes in the crowd and the murder machines appear to get involved. This spills backstage. Archer tries to throw a table from the merch stand at Osprey and it hits a pillar. Osprey and Omega tandem suplex Archer through a merch table. Takeshita tries to brainbuster Omega on the floor, but security intervenes and Takeshita takes him out. Osprey climbs up a balcony as they're back in the crowd. He climbs up this balcony because they're in this different kind of venue, and so there's this giant gray balcony. It was kind of cool. Omega climbs up a truss because there's also those there, these giant scaffolds. And they both hit moonsaults on people. They didn't catch much of Omega's, but Osprey's was big, beautiful. It was
and Omega's you barely saw his legs go over.
Yeah. Osprey and Omega climb up the truss again, and Omega with a mic says, "Everyone saw what they did to Callus's boys, and next time they'll put Callus 6 feet under." And speaking of down under, he mentions Australia, says he should have trusted Osprey from the beginning, and he says it'll be him and Osprey against Takeshita and hometown boy Fletcher. He does his signature sign-off after the music came in too early, and the music hits again to sign us off.
Right. So really liked the lingering tension between Omega and Osprey. You have to do that, right?
Yeah.
You can't just have these guys suddenly be on the same page together. So
Which
I was
they then kind of did.
Really happy with their interaction. It's a simple story. It makes sense. I would have been fine if they weren't. I agree. I don't love them being totally I should have trusted you the whole time.
I have a way to work around that. I'll talk about it.
So I would have been okay if they were still like, listen, I will join you to take out these guys, but I'm not super happy.
I agree, but I'll talk about it. I got it.
And then we got a really lengthy brawl. I said it in the moment.
It was lengthy, but not bad.
But also, why, if you're Don Callis, didn't you just wait and let them implode? Why did you come out right when they were about to fight each other? It felt
I think because for me, with given how Callis' character operates, I think he wants to egg them on.
But he's almost the opposite of egging them on. He's almost cooling them off. I guess
so, but he's an idiot.
Yes. The crowd loved this though, and it's going to lead to what's going to be a fantastic match that you've talked about. And Kenny at the end of his promo, right, said it's about bringing back the feeling. That almost felt like a validation of how I felt. Like people within the company in important roles are saying something's a bit off and we need to get back to the storytelling
Osprey's been saying that, right?
We used to do. So, I liked parts of this. The brawl was a bit long for me.
It was, but I liked it. It kind of built a climax. So
they're quickly heating this up, right? So,
yeah, because Australia is not too far away.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this. It was a solid little segment, being a good brawl. The fight was a little long, but nothing I really had a problem with. It's more of a nitpick, if I'm being honest. To touch on the promo, though, I really liked it. They acknowledged well-documented history and it all made sense. Osprey does a really good job of holding up the animosity, but also showing that he's a changed man. Right?
And also
that
a bit of vulnerability, right? I can't do this alone. I need help. That's not
right.
Usually the baby faces are no, I'll do. You know what I mean?
Right.
The old school.
Yeah, and I like that. So Osprey is really good. Like Hangman, like other people playing this complex character, realistic character, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Really great. And I thought Omega was also really good, understandably not having it. I wouldn't have minded if they got their asses kicked this week and Omega maybe trusts him the next week, but maybe they don't have that kind of time, right? Because we might have to fast track it, given Omega's timeline and everything. I understand that. My backup ideas since Osprey is facing Cage next week, so we can't do it next week, but I'm thinking the week after might be the go home, which is fine. I'm saying next available opportunity on Dynamite, not Collision, Dynamite. My backup idea is for Omega and Osprey to have a warm-up match against the Murder Machines, and we sow some miscommunication there, like Fraxium style, accidental kick to the face, stuff like that, right?
It's funny. I had the thought of doing a Fraxium thing. This could be because they're watching and going, "This is awesome." The way these this is you could do a mega version of that,
right?
Yeah,
and so I'm saying. They have that kind of tension, so we can do the can they coexist thing, which is an overdone trope, but I think you need it here.
Yes,
I think it's important
I agree.
because it's boring
It's
if they're just goody with each other.
yes, it's overdone, but it can be done well
Right,
and
and
be
I think
really
that
good.
would be the case here, right?
I hope so.
So I'm really excited for this. Like Fletcher and Takeshi look strong in the brawl. Big moonsaults were 6-spot, good use of the venue, I thought.
Mhm.
And to touch on the announcement, I'm so unbelievably excited. I already touched on it a bit. But 4 of my favorites in the company, and Omega excluded, 3 of my favorites currently, just he hasn't been around. No
Yep.
disrespect to him. Every single one of these dudes is top tier in the ring, though, and it's going to be magical. And I don't want to get overexcited, but it does have the makings to rival the golden tag match from Revolution 2020. I think for me, it has kind of the same elements too. You have Kenny Omega, and then you got a kick-ass tag team on the other side,
Mhm.
right? And then you have Omega with a partner that he's got some sort of animosity or issues with. With him and Hangman, it was Omega's turmoil between him being friends with Hangman, being friends with the Bucks. Here, it's like they have a common rival, but they also had this blood feud a couple years back,
Yep.
right? So you have all these interconnected parts. You had Omega feuding with the Callis family. He had the match with Takeshita, right? You have Ospreay feuding with Takeshita and having the 3-way with Ricochet in the match of Revolution last year. He feuded with Fletcher recently. You have all these. Even Omega and Fletcher had a match before he went with diverticulitis, right?
Yeah.
Like you have all these interconnected parts, right? Which I think is what makes this such a great match too. Is I think you've talked about it before, when you have people involved in multiple things and it kind of coming to a crescendo like this is really
Yes.
nice. That's what was so cool about I thought the Blackpool Elite feud in 2023 was that it combined so many parts. It combined like the Elite drama with Hangman's feud with Mox and Omega's feud with Mox, and then you brought in Takeshita turning on and Callis turning on Omega. Right, you had all these independent parts moving
Mhm.
around, right? And so you kind of have that here. And so I was saying to you, like I said before, it has the potential to run away with match of the year category if it's done right before anyone else has a say.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for this. Just on paper, in-ring talent and the stories there. So I really like. I think it's probably my favorite story going, just because the Death Riders have kind of fallen off,
Mhm.
and so I like all the parts, the moving parts here. It was a good segment to start us off, and this is the kind of segment to start a show off with because it gets me hyped. It gets me really invested in something they're doing, right?
And it's 4 guys. I think I'm ready to put Fletcher in that category, who don't have bad matches, right? Every match these guys
Yeah.
have is really good to phenomenal. So like
Right.
that's kind of the floor of this is like really, really good.
Yeah, I
Right?
think
So
at worst
that's
it's a really good match.
right.
And I'm super excited for that. Like it's gonna be so good.
And yeah, I think what you're saying is sometimes wrestling has this tendency to like everything's in a little vacuum, right? So like you're in
You
this
have all these
storyline with this
parts, right?
person and nobody else exists until
Right.
that's done.
Right.
Like you don't even interact with them now. Like I
But
like this more realistic.
You have all
There's-
these parts here, right? And
and
so
and even like sometimes it's like you forget the history you have with other people where this is
but
like,
they're holding
no,
it
it's
up,
still
right?
there.
So yeah, there's so many layers
Yep.
to this, and it's just
Should be
it's
awesome.
gonna be really cool. I think given Fletcher's an Aussie, I feel like it deserves the main event. I don't like we have a women's title match going. Like I said, it doesn't seem like we're building to a Mox match because it seems like the play is Mox Copeland, and to me that's the Revolution main event.
Yeah,
I don't want it to be. I don't think it should be,
but it will be.
but it will be.
Mhm.
So I feel like that means he's not going to be on there. Obviously, Takeshi's not defending his title. He's here. So that eliminates that. Garcia might defend his title there, but that would never main event anything. The only time that belt main evented was when Edge debuted. Because remember, we thought it was weird.
Yes.
And then it was, remember that was the one where
And
Christian
then-
dropped Darby on the stairs and it was like with his hands up, like, oh, Jesus. But my point being, I don't think there's anything that could rival this in terms of like just whatever what you want to call drawing power
Yeah.
or just hype or importance, whatever you want to call it, right? This is probably the biggest thing. So I feel like it has to be an event and it has to get some good time because you need to do this right. You can't mess this up.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited.
You are.
Then we get a Pac hype package. There wasn't that much that was new, but you don't need to do much to make Pac look like a badass. It just sucks he has to lose to Edge. But I can't complain if we get to see him wrestle, I guess.
Yeah, he's great to listen to, right? Like
I love everything he does.
he's just a miserable bastard, and it comes through in his promos. And yes, they're all super similar, but I enjoy them all the time. He's just everything about that guy I think is cool.
Yeah, it's like Ospreay on a lesser level to me, just where I enjoy every facet of his work.
Yep.
Like I don't think there's a flaw in his game.
Even though maybe you're like, well, his range isn't too wide, which is true, but he's awesome.
That's maybe where he falters. Yeah, as I think Ospreay has more range.
Yeah.
character-wise, and maybe even in ring. I think Ospreay's a little more.
Yeah.
But like Pac's just great.
Amazing.
He deserves a lot more to do. But yeah, he's great. It was just a quick hype package because he's going to be in the main event tonight, so I guess good for him. Death Riders promo, we got full hobo emo Yuta.
Yeah,
it really made me giggle.
I put that in there that you were quite. Jack enjoys Yuta's current look.
He's got his like scruffy beard right now, but then his hair's also just like
It is
in front of his face. Mox says Copeland went to sleep in 2011 and woke up in 2025 in a place he doesn't belong in, and he'd be glad to throw Copeland in with the weak animals. He says Copeland's hanging on by a thread like Danielson's neck, and they finished the job for him. They fulfilled Darby's death wish. He said maybe Copeland's next visit to the doctor will be worst case scenario, and he won't lose any sleep over it. He says he doesn't have time to deal with relics of the past, and they have a future to build. It was good. Like
I don't think it was his best effort. He's trying to heat up, and I'm obviously
someone
biased.
we don't care about.
He's trying to heat up something that is just stone cold right now. For
I
me.
thought like he always sounds good, and it was most of the typical jargon, but I did like him talking about the people they've taken out.
I like the beginning bit.
That was
there.
cool, and I did like him calling Copeland an old relic because he is.
Yes.
And if he ends Copeland, that's fine.
Yeah.
Then we get Private Party versus Hurt Syndicate for the tag titles.
It's what I don't want to say feared would happen, but like to the extreme.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So I do find it to be an odd choice to have this match on TV instead of the Australia show or Revolution, because maybe they didn't want to have this compete with the future greatest tag match ever.
Maybe they didn't want a squash match on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. So what I thought was weird, Private Party came out to flex on them, but then like halfway through when they got to the ring, it switched to shots.
Yeah, they got the double.
They got like a theme mashup.
Remember, I was joking like, okay, this is thanks for
last hurrah, boys.
Thank you for your service. Yeah. Hey guys, you're gonna have a terrible uninspired title run and lose real fast, but we're gonna play both your themes. Sweet deal.
You're on. The Private Party hit Silly String to Shelton and a Swanton neckbreaker for a 1 count. Yikes. That was cool though. Shelton and Lashley caught stereo suicide dives and just chucked both the Private Party guys with the overhead belly to bellies. Lashley just drilled Zay through the announce table with a spinebuster. Looked pretty awesome.
Did.
Shelton hit Quinn with a big backdrop for 2. Zay broke the pin. I thought at the very least MVP did a good job of putting Private Party over on commentary, like talking about their spear and everything.
He
like,
tried.
Fighting. Like he did a good job. It matters little in the grand scheme of
does.
things, but I can appreciate that at least.
Yeah.
And it's like I always said with Moxley, he always did a good job of putting people over while staying in character. And MVP, his character's like more heelish, and you know what I mean. So it's kind of interesting, but I thought he did a good job at least. So kudos there. I appreciate the effort.
And I'm gonna try and silver lining this for Private Party at the end.
All right.
A little bit.
We got a Zay hot tag flurry, tornado flatliner from Zay, and a 450 from Quen for 2 on Benjamin. That was cool.
Sorry, now I'm so confused. Do you actually mean a flatliner, or you remember?
No, it was actual flatliner.
Because what do they call
it was flapjack. Shivani has called it a flatliner multiple times.
And so now we've started doing it.
I did,
ironically, and then you get tangled up in it.
No, I know what my.
Okay.
I don't even know how you do a tornado flapjack, because like.
True.
Because flapjack, so this will be great for people who aren't on video, but like, because you're lifting them up by the legs, but tornado, it's like you're coming off the ropes and spinning around like tornado DDT, right? So it would have to be a flatliner.
What if you lift them up by the legs, spin around, and then flap them?
I don't think that's just like a spinning one.
I'm an innovator, okay? I'm Chris Canyon.
I think tornado stunner, you could do like a, you know what I mean? Or like you could do a tornado cutter, but I don't think it. I think it only works if you're doing a jumping thing.
Fair
enough. Anyways,
weird digression.
Logistics. Lashley gets hit with a strike combo and roll up for 2. Then he spears Zay for 2. Quen breaks the pin. Shelton just chucks Quen around with German suplexes, and the crowd's loving it. Lashley plants him with spinebuster. Zay takes Benjamin like decapitating step up knee in the corner and a spear from Lashley. Syndicate bag the belts.
Yeah, it was.
It was a solid match.
It was, and Hurt Syndicate looks appropriately dominant. It's just too bad. But anyways,
yeah, it sucks because I love Private Party.
Fast start for Private Party, then pretty much a dominant win for the Hurt Syndicate, right? Outside of one other, I think they had one late flurry there.
I thought Private Party got their shots in though, just not a lot.
No, and the bits on the floor, like Hurt Syndicate just destroyed them on the floor. The synchronized suplexes and stuff.
The table spot.
A well executed like extended squash. I hate using language like that, but kind of what it was, right? And I get it.
Not far off.
I think AEW, they have to capitalize on the Hurt Syndicate right now. I love them as a team, and one of the things I'm hyped about is right now, because Shelton got there first and looked incredible, and this is pretty much treating him as basically an equal of Lashley.
Yeah.
instead of like
Because like in the Hurt
he's
business,
the backup for he's
right?
the
Him and
gatekeeper
Cedric
to
were tag
Lashley.
champs, and Lashley's the singles
Right.
champ, right?
So I feel like you could really build a division around these guys with their ability and how into them the crowd is right now.
I think we've said that numerous times
We
with different
have.
people,
And
but
I'm just trying to will it
I
into
agree.
existence
I
too.
agree though, because they're like these monster heels who are just killing everybody, and you could really build up
Somebody.
a team to finally beat them. Like,
And-
I'd say you have them hold the belts for most of the year at least.
And people want to see them hurt people, and you can just have that, right? So
yeah,
and then for Private Party, my idea was like, I'm probably stretching, but like maybe this gives you the opportunity to tell the story I think you should have told the first time of these guys starting back near the bottom and actually getting the ball rolling and like beating
like the
weaker
process we should have
teams.
had towards the
Correct.
Bucks. Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I
they
agree.
got a brief taste of it. They didn't handle it properly because
Right,
they
you could frame it as like they
stayed partying and whatever.
right, they didn't focus enough. They didn't stay hungry, right?
So now we're getting a little more serious or whatever.
Okay.
So you could do that.
I mean, they listened to us.
Because that's true. Because I like them too. So
I
anyways.
agree. Like, because and we said this already, but the issue is not with Private Party's talents, because they did start agreeing when they came to AEW, but I really like them in the ring. I think
Mhm.
they've got a cool style. I think they're over in their own right. Like especially. So for me, with the double theme song thing, I like the first one they used better, like the newer one, the Flex on. I think that one's kind of hype. But for me, I think Shots is a better theme to use, because I think the crowd really gets into the
They
chanting
do.
Shots, right? Like even here, the Hurt Syndicate's definitely more over, but Private Party are still like the entrance is still over. You know what I mean?
Yes. But I wanted them to tell the story of like they'd grown and changed, and that's why they're winning bigger matches now, right? Because
Yeah, I agree.
But it came across as like they're just winning bigger matches because they're winning bigger matches. They're the
Yeah.
same exact thing.
I think they should like kind of come up again for sure.
Yeah, they could.
I agree, because I really like them, and that's why this is all kind of disappointing, because I was really happy they got their title run, even if we didn't get there in the manner we suggested.
Mhm.
We still got there, and I was still happy for them. But I do agree, this is a chance to go back to the drawing board with them, and I hope they do, because I really like them. I think they're cool. I think they're talented. They just need the right creative behind them. So yeah, I think honestly, I wouldn't even hate if Private Party are the ones to take the titles back if
In a year
we
from
do this long ass story, yeah, or
Yeah.
even just within the year. If we do
Yeah.
it at the end of the year, like by World's End, that's fine.
Yeah.
Did I mention that just to say the name again?
Yes,
Yes,
you did, partially.
But also because that might be a decent time frame, or like you could do Full Gear if you want to do it a little earlier, right?
Mhm.
Like there's options. But yeah, so I think this was good. Sucks for Private Party, but Lashes and Shelton look like
Awesome.
beasts.
Yep.
Right? And so again, it's not their fault that they haven't had a great run, but there's a chance to rebuild here. And then on the other hand, the presentation of the Hurt Syndicate's been fantastic from the get-go. Like you said, Shelton's looked fantastic since he got here. I think Lashley's looked pretty good too. Lashley's a great powerhouse, but again, I'm going to heap praise on Shelton because I think he's awesome.
It feels like they built so much momentum so fast that they kind of shifted plans almost on stuff.
I think if they were trying to build Private Party, they kind of screwed themselves in building Hurt Syndicate so good.
They went from like, hey, we're going to elevate these guys to hold on, they're transitional champions. We'll figure something
you kind of
out.
had to.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Shelton especially, I think has been flawless since he's come here, and I like, even if it's just another tag title on his resume opposed to a singles title, I'm happy to see him get his due late in this run. And like you said, if he's on equal footing with Lashley, he deserves it.
I love that presentation.
He's been amazing. I hope they run Rush out of their division. They could dominate for a while. I'd like to see them against Top Flight, maybe. Other teams
that exist.
FTR.
House of Black.
Because the Acclaimed are done. I mean, Babyface House of Black.
Yeah.
Against, that would be killer. Because, like,
apparently they're sticking together, it looks like. Right?
I'm okay with that.
I am and I'm not.
I'm like, okay, if you push them, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Right? Like,
yep, that's part of the qualifier.
Well, and so for me, I'm okay with it because, like, just imagine on paper them versus Hurt Syndicate. It feels like almost a mirrored version because Lashley and King are like powerhouses. Obviously, different kind of powerhouses, but still, they're the big men. And, like, honestly, just kind of in build and style, Murphy and Shelton are pretty similar.
You have more of a straight powerhouse, and then like a
smash mouth
super athletic powerhouse still in Benjamin and Murphy.
Right, and like this because they're also like they're strong. They have like both killer strikes, right? They're just kind of they're kind of hybrids, right? Both of them. And so if we build a tag title program between those two teams, I would love a Murphy Shelton singles match on the way there.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. I just think that would be really cool, two teams to pair them with. There are options for teams. I do think the tag division, as a whole needs a real build, but that's why Hurt Syndicate could be such a good anchor, right? Because I think you need that kind
That's
of
what I'm
stability
saying. They could be
to build around.
Yes.
100%.
And they also make the titles important and coveted by other people because, like, these guys are on everything, killing people all the time. They raise the exposure of the
Yeah, and I
titles.
feel like it could be a more productive long run than the one the Bucks had last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a bad run. They had some good matches here and there, but there was also periods where they weren't defending the belts forever
That's how it'll be booked right
and
there.
doing character work.
The Bucks come back and are the good face Bucks.
If you do that right,
Which
I'm
I don't
not hating
necessarily
it,
want, but I think they would want that for themselves.
I mean, they also have the New Japan belts right now, so
Right.
I don't know. Like, I would honestly, unless we get another good babyface team coming up, I would mostly prefer Private Party to win them back in the long run. Because I think
long-term storytelling, elevate somebody would be nice.
Yeah, I think they need to be our tag team equivalent to the Four Pillars. You know what I mean? Like a team that they took a chance on, that they've built, that they're going to focus on.
Yeah.
Right? And we just need to kind of restructure that.
Yep.
But then we get a Mariah May promo vignette. She talks about her dominance over the division, says AEW rewards her by enabling a disabled woman again, a woman she played like a disabled fiddle. She says AEW doesn't deserve her and she can't wait to meet Storm. I drastically summarized this, but she's just the best. I love the word choice.
Had she's right was my
She
first
is right.
comment.
The word choice, the tone, the delivery, everything's on point. It's so good. The dynamic's gonna be interesting. And I'm like, she just spoke about the history and Storm remembers none of it, so this will be something.
So, and I think you're kind of saying this too, because this is at the heart of this. This is a pretty generic promo in terms of this is what a lot of heels say in this spot, right? I beat you before, I'll beat you again.
Like Perez was saying.
But
stuff
she
like
does
that.
it with so much flair and like her own take, and it's so
And it's
believable.
just so over the top, like mean in whatever word you want to use, like harsh, negative.
So she takes normal stuff and just makes it awesome, which is like one of the best things you can have in a performer because
That's the mark of a good performer.
There's only so many stories and ways to do things, right? And you have to keep reusing them. But the way she delivers stuff,
it elevates it, makes it different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's great. We cut to a Storm interview right after. She talks about being nervous but gets cut off by Harley Cameron, who wishes her good luck. And Storm says there's no reason she can't wrestle in Australia too. There's a lot of Aussie references. Renee says she didn't get a word of that, and I agree. And I said, compared to May's promo, useless. So
this is one of those things that is not for me. The tone of this was trying to be funny, I guess, but it was a miss. Closer to cringe than entertainment, I said. And I'm the one who has fewer issues with Harley Cameron in this duo.
Yeah. Then we get a Jeff Jarrett interview. Karen Jarrett interrupts and she says, last week him fighting MJF wasn't him. That's not him anymore. He says he's got it. I said this was useless, and I said if she didn't like last week, then why doesn't he retire right now instead of fighting more like he's going to? Retire now, Jeffrey.
Yeah. He stumbled over his own catchphrase, right? At one point?
Did he?
Yeah.
Last Outlaw? Was that?
Yeah.
No, that was later, I think.
Oh, was it later?
I think so.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was. So he comes to the ring for a promo, and I wrote Jeff Jarrett test my patience.
Oh, it is, yeah.
He yaps about history with Jerry Lawler and some tag match. Lawler's from Tennessee because that's where they are. Some advice. Nice to come back home. Yada yada. He says MJF will find out who the last Lao is. He fumbled Outlaw.
That's what it was.
Pretty much like that.
That's it.
He's gonna beat his ass. He reviews new information that the fans inspired him and yada yada. Owen Hart Cup wants to be world champion. Believes himself. Yada yada. We've never heard this before. He calls out Mox. Claudio's music hits. I like how so the intro of the theme hits, right? Because obviously Death Riders have that, like the wah, 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 whatever.
You're singing a lot this week. Yeah. That's two.
So
karaoke with Jack.
Wrestling karaoke. There are places that do that.
That's something Poison Rana does, I think.
I would
when they host events.
But so obviously they have that intro. It's kind of like Bullet Club where every theme has that same intro. So you can understandably think it's Mox for 0.2 seconds. But then Claudio's theme hits, and I think it was the commentary are still acting like it's Mox coming out. I'm like, you know the difference between the theme songs, right?
No.
No one it's Claudio. He hits Jarrett with an uppercut, says nobody gets to Mox without getting through him first.
And I note that you will be thrilled that they're feeding Claudio to Jarrett.
I mean, yeah. He tells Jarrett to stay out of their business. He said outlaw first try.
He did.
He leaves through the crowd. Jarrett says Claudio have to kill him, stop him. They probably would. They suffocated a man with a plastic bag.
Right?
They will probably kill you if you let them.
Yes.
So do not say things like that.
You're not above killing.
I know we're joking, but the storyline's not always there at whatever with the Threads, but they will do that. They tried to pour chemicals down Orange Cassidy's throat.
Yep.
They've
bagged people.
Taken senior citizens, the Rock and Roll Express hostage.
True.
They
smash them with chairs.
They will kill you, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he understands. He challenges Claudio for a match next week. If he wins, he gets a title shot. Claudio accepts. I hated this again. Seems like Jarrett can help himself when it comes to like rambling about pointless crap from his past. Like, one week he rambles about his family's history in the business. He'll ramble about Owen Hart. He'll ramble about Jerry Lawler. He just yaps about stuff that is so boring and irrelevant. It does not matter. I don't care if you like this story or not. His pointless history does not matter one bit. I don't give one solitary crap. Like, it's so boring. It's always something with him. Like, he always finds a way to start his promo with something completely that's just gonna make me, like, put me to sleep.
Nostalgia.
No, not even. There's no way you have nostalgia for the Tennessee territory with Jerry Lawler. Like, don't even try with that. This offered me nothing. If anything, it dismissed the MJF crap we've had to deal with for the last 2 weeks. He made little to no mention of it.
Right.
This gets us closer to the time match I don't ever want to see, so I hate this. To talk about Claudio, he has looked so money since the Death Rider started. Like, especially when the story was better. But even when the story faltered, if you want to talk about that, regardless, I think Claudio has looked fantastic. I think he looked great in all of his C2 matches. He looked great in that match. I think it was the Thanksgiving time. I remember where he just murdered Darby.
Yes,
where we were like,
that was
that
awesome.
should be where he leaves. It was
And he
before
won,
the
didn't
C2.
he? Wasn't
He
I
did.
surprised? Yeah.
Remember, he killed him, and I thought it was awesome. Him putting over Jarrett is going to be so stupid, and just, it has the potential to undo most of, if not all of that work that they've done to make him look awesome. Jarrett's not the way to go to appeal to new fans.
That's for sure.
And he can't go with the rest of the roster. Like, he doesn't fit the style. He doesn't fit the pace. His character work isn't good because he just randomly turned face last year. His promos are rambling, like I said. He's not like, the people hype for this are the nostalgia blinded fools, not the, like, smart-minded new fans.
I didn't think the live crowd was into this nearly enough for it to be in the position it's in.
And the fact he gets a time match after winning one match.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about Private Party where you want to talk about them just randomly winning big matches. This is worse because he's old, he sucks, and he's going to win one match. One match. You talked about MJF being too lazy to enter the gauntlet, but he's being like, oh, hey, if I win one match, I get a title shot.
And you get that someone's trying to do that on NXT, and you get Fraser this week going, sorry, you guys deserve a match. Why?
Yeah,
who
exactly.
have you beaten?
But as long as he doesn't beat Mox, it's fine, I guess.
As somebody who sort of has issues with the Death Riders, right? Guess how to not rectify that situation.
Okay, so yeah, there's that too. Is if you're not into the Death Riders,
this
first
is
off,
not helping.
Well, not even that. First off, you're bringing in Copeland, which are like,
right?
I'm not really telling you, but it's like, oh, we could have a good next feud for Moxley. Jeff Jarrett.
Right.
And then the thing that bothers me too, and I'll talk about this after the main event, Jay White is right there.
Mm-hmm.
He's right here. How hard is it? He's right here.
Yeah. So
or do Hobbs again.
I'm not interested in this, and I didn't feel like the crowd was super into it.
Not as much as they have.
My last note says I can't do a whole year of this if this is the plan of him. Like,
they can't. If they're fast tracking him to a title shot now, they can't be doing a whole year of this.
It might be we start skipping a segment. We've watched every minute of every show, but it's tough. But anyways,
if we do end up skipping it, then he gets worst wrestler of the year because like we never skipped the Jericho thing, and believe
I would
me,
at least
I
be
wanted
putting
to.
it on 1.5 speed if I could.
Yeah. Then we get a Megan Bayne highlight reel pretty quick. It shows her highlights from last week and from other stuff. I was just saying like it bodes well for a potential signing of her again, and I hope they do.
Yeah. It just keeps her at top of mind. Clearly, she did enough that they're like, okay, we need to list. We don't have anything super planned, but make sure people know she exists. So quick, cut together a highlight reel.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Much more believable monster than Camille was, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
honestly,
fine
if they
with
brought
giving
her in
some
as
time.
Monet's chump and then did the Stylander match, I would have been more
Way
interested.
better. So yeah, I'm interested in her.
Is Camille dead now?
I think she gone.
So you think she's dead?
Forever.
Therefore, that would make it so.
Yes, that's right. I have a history.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's more instances of you like killing someone on the pod than saving someone's life.
For sure.
So
I'm due to save someone.
Yeah, you actually have to proclaim like someone's not doing too great. Like you should proclaim Luchasaurus will be back within the week.
Right.
And then like
Just
it's like,
lie.
oh my god.
Just lie.
Just straight up lie. Then we get Swerve Strickland versus AR Fox. I just wrote that like I'm still annoyed that allegiance they had was dropped randomly before Wembley in 2023. Remember the invasion of the Buddy Wayne Academy?
I love that.
And then they just split, and remember? Like, because remember AR Fox joined up with them?
Wasn't there something about, there was something he did they didn't like. I remember.
Was it like he didn't want to go to Wembley or something?
Something like that, yeah.
But like, I was thinking it was still such a waste. These guys have good chemistry though.
They do, for sure.
There's a moonsault off the apron from Swerve. Fox did like a clean step moonsault from the ring post to the outside. Swerve caught a Hurricane Rana attempt from Fox, turned it into a power slam. Ricochet came out, tried to attack Swerve with the scissors, ducks it, and Nana chases him off with a comically large pipe.
It just out of nowhere. He just has inanimate carbon rod. Sorry, that's a reference to Simpsons. You wouldn't know.
Spanish fly from Fox for 2. Swerve hits a roll through flattener followed by a house call, and the Swerve stomp gets the win. Ricochet appears on the Tron and says these are the risks Swerve takes when he thinks it's okay to bully and humiliate people. He has Nana like with scissors at the throat.
Mm-hmm.
He says next week he'll speak and he has a lot to say. He has Nana with scissors to his neck, and he says he needs Swerve to know it. He needs him to tell Swerve that it may be his house, but there's a new landlord and rent is due. Ricochet with a good one-liner.
House puns. Yeah. Love it. Yeah, straightforward win for Swerve. Gives people entertaining action along the way, right? AR Fox is really good in the ring. Too bad things didn't work out for him. These guys know each other super well, right? So they gave an entertaining mid-show, like...
Yeah, it was good. Like I said, they always have good chemistry, and I think Fox is really cool.
And Ricochet running scared from Nana is very, like, on brand for him.
It's on brand for him, but also could have been a smart tactic if he was able to jump Nana backstage.
Isolate him,
you know what
back
I mean?
there,
Like, it might have been a ploy. I think it works either way.
And I thought he sounded better than usual. And
I agree. I thought he actually sounded good.
He's even making the stupid laugh work for him, right? So I'm just, like, amazed every week that I'm enjoying Ricochet, like heel Ricochet.
Yeah.
So I was very much
100%.
blindsided by this. But the Ricochet Swerve story is suddenly really interesting too. And AEW is a mixed bag of stories for me right now, kind of to the extreme. But this one is the
but
one
at least they
that's
have
working.
a couple good ones going on.
For
but
sure.
Then, I was going to say there's more good than bad, but then I realized, like, so for me, I'd say Death Rise is kind of in the middle because sometimes I like it more and sometimes I don't. Right now, it's kind of...
I'm lower middle with that.
That's fair. And then you think you have the best one is Ospreay Omega Callis.
Yeah.
You have your really good one here, and then you have your absolute dog shit in Jeff Jarrett.
And Hurt Syndicate are really good.
Oh, Hurt Syndicate. But that's like I'm waiting for like an actual storyline with them, I guess. Like I'm talking pure storylines or feuds even, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think then we kind of have it all over the spectrum.
I agree.
But this was good. I think I agree with most of your points. Like Fox lacks personality, but he's really cool in the ring. Like that's why I wish they had stuck together in a heel group because Fox deserves some spotlight. But I really like him whenever we see him, and the Ricochet stuff was actually good. Like he actually sounded solid.
Yep.
Then we go on the bad end of things. We had a recap of Hobbs on the Maximum Carnage in his match with Mox, and then the 12-man tag on Collision. It turns into Jericho's New York Minute, even though it's been months since we've been in New York. We're in Tennessee. He talks about losing the 12-man tag on Collision, and they lost, even though they tried to take out Hobbs beforehand. Bill says a dumb cliche, and Jericho says learning moments only work if they learn from them. He says they lost because of Hobbs, and he asks Bill what he's going to do about it. Bill says he was face-to-face with Hobbs last week, and Hobbs didn't beat him because he can't. He says he's the biggest and baddest man in the industry, and he's coming to find Hobbs on Collision.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I just said I'm sad that Hobbs' career is going in the gutter because he's going to feud with Jericho. They were doing so well with him, and he's looked so great lately.
Yes.
But now he's in a Jericho feud, so it's only down from here. I didn't completely hate this, though, only because I thought when Bill was serious, I thought he sounded really good.
Well, it's interesting because he's just doing the motivational speaker crap that Jericho was the one that got them all doing. But now they're losing so much that Jericho, it's almost like the reveal of like
Jericho's facade is fading.
Right. And so
I thought Bill sounded really good.
Tension between them, right? And
Yeah.
so I don't know, at least it's something different and it's moving a little bit. It looks like something I don't know, do you think Keith and Bill could be a serious team away from Jericho?
Maybe. I thought Keith's ring gear I saw it on Collision was horrible. He changed it from what he used to have.
So yeah, this was, again, Jericho. Yeah, I think what you said is perfect. That facade is sort of, the veneer of that character is wearing out because they're not winning anything and he's getting pissed off.
Even though he has a belt.
Which is something different at least.
I guess when your belt's meaningless, it's like it's not there.
I guess. But between this and like Jericho stuff and Jarrett stuff, I think anybody that really wants to be critical of AEW has lots of ammunition.
Yeah, which kind of sucks.
That's the problem.
Can't talk about the attendance anymore though because looked good again.
Did.
So I'm happy about that. We have a jobber in the ring, but we're gonna hear from MJF.
Oh my god! And This is when he. This is my first line. When he walked out, I asked aloud if he could talk about something other than Jeff Jarrett, because I'm like, oh, we've had tons of Jarrett. He didn't mention, like you said, there was no mention of MJF or anything. So MJF must be moving on. Hooray! Nope. Rug pull.
He tells Goober to leave. He tells Jared, Jared deserves to give every fan an apology after his actions last week. If anyone deserves an apology, it's him. When he offered to help Jared, he didn't do so because he believed in Jared, because he thought he would be the easiest to manipulate and beat, which is fair. He says the fact that Jared believes in 2025 he'll become the next world champion shows he's as senile as he looks. I agree. Anyone who thinks that can follow suit. He says pro wrestling doesn't love Jarrett anymore and the fans don't either. I wish that were true. He says it's better to make a deal with the devil than to defy him. He's finished, but Hangman's music hits because he was scheduled against Jobber Boy.
Yep.
He tells MJF to leave and MJF backs off. This was fine. MJF cuts great promos in his sleep. It's just I don't care about the topic.
Exactly.
It was solid though. Hangman MJF could be an interesting prospect. I feel like we haven't gotten a proper feud with them. Hangman would have to turn babyface again, but I have missed that, so I'm okay with that if it makes sense.
And yeah, it's just this ice cold Jarrett feud is absorbing like top tier talent, and I'm not here for it at all.
Yeah. Then we get Hangman Page's squash match. There wasn't much. He just beat him with a big lariat, you know. Then after that, he continued the beatdown and he hits the Angel's Wing since he retired.
I think that's a cool looking move. Honestly.
It's a solid move. Well, Ciampa does it, right?
Yeah,
he has his version.
The fairy tale ending.
Yeah.
Because
he retired Daniels on.
He did. I heard that. We haven't gone back and checked it out. I probably will.
Daniels comes out and he's in a neck brace. Hangman walks up to meet him on the stage. He asks if he wants him to beat his ass again. Daniels says he messed up trying to be a friend and it was like pouring gasoline on a fire. Good pun.
This was awesome, I thought, somehow.
Yeah. He says he let things escalate to a point where he accepted the most dangerous match against the most dangerous man, and after that match and all his accumulated damage in his career, he's been advised not to wrestle again. He tells Hangman he wins and he won the last match of Daniels' career. He says he's sorry and he hopes Hangman is happy now.
Yeah, I don't know, this went from being a man, I don't want to do anything with Daniels to I thought this was a really cool.
I thought it was kind of a waste, right? Like it was a weird thing. It was a waste of Hangman's time.
It was really quick, and then they really let you know these guys have a serious history together, and that Daniels is like, it's almost like I didn't know what I was dealing with, and you were right, and I hope you're happy because you retired.
Which kind of makes sense now, though, that he was trying to help Hangman, because I did think it was weird, right?
And then Hangman sells being conflicted for like a Flash, which he's so good at. Yeah.
This is clearly for the story, and I find it interesting. Now, I don't particularly care about Daniels retiring, but because it feels appropriate. In all honesty, if he didn't come back for that match, I would have thought he was retired already. However, I'm a fan of them using it for a storyline for Hangman's gain. It could be a slow burn face turn, which is an interesting prospect because I feel like we saw the opposite way around with his heel turn, right? It was a slow descent into madness, and we could kind of see like a slow, like, go back up to babyface, you know what I mean? I have no doubt Hangman could pull it off too, because I think his acting is always great, especially here with his facial expressions and body language. You can see the turmoil and the effect that it has on his character when Daniel says he's done, like, you broke me, I'm done, you win, right? You can see, like, it is what he wanted, but it's also not actually what he wanted.
What he wanted, there's a moment of, like, maybe regret's a strong word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
reflection.
Remorse. Yeah. It's not like Swerve where he kind of got what he wanted. It's like, he's still insane, but it's like, this is kind of, it's almost like he's been in a trance ever since Swerve got to him, and this is like the thing that's starting to snap him out of it.
You got what you wanted, but what you wanted was monstrous, and you're starting to realize that.
Right, and so I really like that they have a long history, so I think it actually makes sense here, and I like them using it. I like it being used for something. Unlike Jarrett, Daniel's retirement in this little feud didn't really detract from much either, other than, like, I didn't really understand what they were going for, but now it kind of makes sense, and I really like this. Like,
me too.
Because Hangman is so great at acting. Like, even here in this one little bit, he sells the turmoil and the remorse and just he's clearly taken aback by it, right?
You can see all in just expression, no words.
Yeah, you can see the difference in, like, his crazed, angry look until Daniel says that. You can see him taken aback by that. You can see the difference, and so I'd add this into a story now that I'm interested in. I'm interested to see where Hangman goes. If he does do a face turn, an MJF feud makes sense because he's the ultimate heel, right? And so I'm interested to see where it goes. I mean, if he goes babyface, he could beat Moxley. I'd be okay with that.
Me too.
I'd love for him to have another crack at it. And if he does turn babyface, I have two conditions. He has to get rid of the mustache, and he has to bring back his old theme song.
Fair.
Because I do like his current theme song, but to me, it always fits heel Hangman. I think his old theme not only fits any Hangman, but is the babyface.
It's an all-timer.
It's an all-timer. So you need to bring back Ghost Town Triumph if he goes babyface. And the mustache is a heel look for sure.
It is.
Like, it's a good look. It's a good heel look. Anyways, that was actually a nice surprise.
It was.
Then we get Mercedes Moné interview. She has 4 belts. She says she's a global champion now and talks about wrestling in Japan and the UK. Australia is coming up. Harley Cameron comes in with the guitar and sings about wanting to ride the Moné train. And she says Moné says she's wrestled the best. Harley hasn't won on TV, which is fair, so she says no. Moné was fine, and I hate Harley, but she almost made me laugh.
She's talented, man.
It was almost like there's the one line where she kind of made reference to her tits, but then like she turned it into a different.
Yes.
I think it's tipping point.
Yes.
So she didn't actually say it. And so I
Yes.
was like, it almost made me laugh. I was just trying not to because I was like, she's annoying most of the time, but there's times where she's funny.
I think if they find a way to use her, she's talented. Now, I don't know if that's in-ring talented, and maybe she can develop, but and again, she seems like she's willing to do whatever and try the hell out of it. So I have time for those people.
Mm-hmm. Like, didn't really serve much of a purpose here, but it was almost something, you know?
It was almost something. And for you to say that about her, that's...
Yeah, I was telling you,
a long way.
There was the music video she did opposite the Acclaimed a while back.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
Yep.
I think that was the first time where she was actually decent. But yeah, then we get a match graphic for the future greatest tag match ever. And Jamie Hayter versus Julie Hart too. I don't know why we need this again.
I know. That's why I was surprised with the finish, and then you reminded me this was the second match. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Missile dropkick from Hayter, avalanche back suplex from Hayter, multiple German suplexes from Hayter. Hart looks in an octopus. Hayter powers out into a backbreaker. Crucifix bomb from Hart for 2. Hayter with the hate breaker and Haterade for the win. She cuts a promo after, which basically boils down to Malachi Black's not here. You're gonna be good on your own.
Right.
Basically, like what Ospreay said to Buddy Murphy.
I thought she sounded good after the match, and that was nice. Did a decent job of putting Hart over. Even got like a little smile from Hart, which I also like because it's like this I'm super serious and dark and mysterious all the time is a lot, I find, for her. And I thought this was a lot of Hater on offense, which is what I want. She looked better than she has, delivered a good promo. So she was awesome once, we keep saying, so I see no reason why she can't be awesome again, and I hope this is like... But I don't know who wins the rubber match of this.
I would pick Hater.
I would too, but are they going to?
Because, like, I feel like the Hart experiment's over, but...
So do I. I even think a new character
so,
tweak for her would be... Which is why I was kind of like, if House of Black disintegrated, they could all do their own thing, but... No.
She's like Drew McIntyre, but instead of carrying around a sword, she carries around a bow and arrow and tries to shoot people from a skybox.
That's right.
And also has pom-poms still.
That's right.
And Griff Garrison comes back.
Imagine.
And Lexus King as well.
No, thanks.
No?
No.
No, okay. Yeah, it was fine. It was better than the last match. Hart didn't do much note. Hater got to look solid. And so basically it just kind of confirms that House of Black's going in a new direction.
Oh, yeah. That gets further confirmed later, right?
Yeah. Then we get Powerhouse Hobbs promo. He basically says he'll be in Jacksonville and Bill can come find him. It was fine. I just pray he gets out of the Jericho Vortex.
It's just keeping him on TV, which I get. It's better than no presence at all, right? So it's like, again, similar to the what's-her-face vignette there, who I forget that I said kept
Megan
her.
Bain.
There you go. Same idea here. Like, Hobbs has been hot lately, so here's his couple minutes on TV.
Yeah. Then we get a Swerve Strickland promo. He says, in 2 weeks, the chase is done, and the lion finally gets his hands on the rodent. Maybe he will sooner than that. But I thought it was good. He had good intensity here and some edge. I'm surprised this match is getting blown off on TV, but we could get a rematch, I guess, at the pay-per-view or Aussie. So.
I feel like maybe Ricochet wins the TV match.
I can see that, and I'm okay with that. I think that makes sense.
I think this feud has turned hot enough that you need to run more than one match a bit.
I agree.
Series is good.
I agree.
Yeah, Angry Swerve is cool, so I like this.
Then we get a quick House of Black vignette. King says they had a voice to guide them for years, and it was deafening, but now it's silent. Matthew says they're done living in the shadows, and Hart says it's time to honor themselves. They all, they said different things like no rules, no master, no gods, just violence. King says when they bark together, and I just said, in a nutshell, Malachi Black is gone. This was cool.
I wonder if, this was all kayfabe, or if it was a little bit of now that he's gone, because he takes all the spotlight, and he doesn't really want anyone else to go...
One, I would argue he doesn't take the spotlight because they didn't get one.
True.
2, I wouldn't be surprised given what we've heard of his reception.
That's what I was thinking too.
But I mean, the spotlight, when they did their entrance, they go in they all had their own spotlight, so it's kind of, they all got a spotlight in the entrance.
And they're kind of doing, makes me nervous, the Judgment Day, no leaders this time. It's very much what they were doing. Right? No leader, just violence is what they're saying.
And then you need someone to call them trash on TV and make a shirt out of it.
I'm not super confident that they're going to use this group for anything better, but I guess I can be hopeful.
Me neither, but maybe if, you don't have Black, who seems like Baker a little difficult to work with, maybe that is because he was hesitant to do jobs, right? So that might have held him back from losing.
And Brody King, as we know, very deep, close personal friend, is a lovely man.
Hey, I met all of them, right? They signed a thing for me.
That's true. Actually, I was really impressed with Malachi at that, too. The things he had to say and the fact that they stayed at a fairly small indie show. They stayed afterwards as long as anybody was lined up for an autograph. And
I'm sure he's not a bad dude.
You didn't have to buy stuff either.
Yeah.
You could have just lined up with a napkin and
get a picture, yeah.
That was cool.
I'm sure he's not a bad dude. It's just some people are...
Yeah.
In the business, it's whatever. But yeah, anyways, this was interesting. We'll see where it goes, honestly. We get Adam Copeland and Pac in our main event. Pac's entrance is underrated for one of my favorites.
Yep.
Just because I think that beginning camera angle where he's it's through the holes in the wall. This time it was a chain link fence, but back when you come through the entrance way, it was through that kind of graded wall they have behind the tunnels. I don't know how you describe that. But anyways, it looks really cool, and he just has his miserable sulking walk to the ring.
Bastard.
Love him.
The bastard, actually.
Wheelbarrow facebuster on the steel steps from Copeland. Pac hit
that looked good.
Yeah, he did. Pac hit a running boot to Copeland's neck and then targeted it further on the floor. Running shotgun dropkick from Copeland. Pac sells it like a champ. Flapjack from Copeland.
There it is.
Big Larry and an Impaler DT from Copeland. Pac countered a fireman's carry into the brutalizer. Copeland got to the ropes. Super kicking and a pump kick from Pac to Copeland's neck, and he falls with a German suplex. He locks into the brutalizer again, which Copeland should have lost to, but he gets back up and slams him down to break it. Spear to the back, spear to the front, which is odd, and then a TKO from Copeland for the win, which I thought was odd.
Yeah.
Death Riders appear on the Tron after the match. They concerto Ricky Morton. FTR taped up. They come out, beat up Copeland. I dropped Penta. Jay White comes out. He joins in, takes out Claudio, knocks Pac out of the ring, goes for a blade under a Mox. Yuta with a low blow. White gets beaten down. Copeland gets choked out.
Yeah, so this match got a lot of time. I think it was 18 minutes. Suffered a little bit because the winner is so incredibly obvious.
And I thought the same thing, which isn't always an issue, but I think it is when he shouldn't be losing and he also loses all the time.
Well, and I think part of it, I love Pac, but Edge, at his current age, can't keep up with Pac. Can't work the
He
pace
literally has
really
a glaring injury that Pac went after, and that should have been.
So this was a pretty deliberate pace for a Pac match. And again, I liked some of the action, and I did like Pac targeting the neck. I feel like he didn't take a ton of punishment before losing either.
I don't think so.
It was a quick, hard-hitting
I feel like he was dominating a bit, but also not doing a whole lot that makes him cool. He was still good. It's just he was in control enough, but
just
didn't feel
him
like he
at
did a lot.
2/3 speed.
It felt like half-rate Pac a bit.
So a pretty good main event. Obviously, it's never going to be amazing because there's no world where Pac wins, but yeah, it was good enough, I guess. And the aftermath was
whatever.
What Death
I just
Riders
thought it was
do.
dumb because what weight did the Rock and Roll Express hold of this story?
That kind of seems stapled on to me.
I would have booked it they concerto FTR and take them out, leave Copeland isolated for a bit, and FTR could make a triumphant return the week before Revolution and make a big save for your go home angle. Babyface are over, or Copeland loses at the pay per view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that post match is fine. Just it didn't need to have the old people in there, and I just don't it would add some stakes to it even if I don't want it, but and Jay White's right here. I don't understand why he's not the title program we're focusing on. He's a main event guy, and he's the guy with top star potential now, opposed to Copeland, who had it decades ago.
Hopefully he's adjacent because they're gonna get to it.
Because he's awesome, and I think I still don't get why he would be polarizing, but I think he's fantastic, and I think he's proven that with the Hangman matches and even just being involved in the 4-way, he was really good, right? Everything he does is great. He's another guy that just I enjoy every facet of his game. It was fine, but the Death Riders thing needs to pivot back to how they started. When they were just actually running roughshod over the roster and beating people into changing. This is they're just attacking people going for the belt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with Moxley trying to create this future because the whole reason the Death Riders formed is because Danielson was not embodying the vision
Correct.
that the Blackpool originally had.
But they
And
don't
Death Riders
feel
was
that
doing
much different.
But it doesn't feel like he's doing that anymore. It feels like he's beating people up, not like he's like they are going to extreme with like the Rock and Roll Express, but what does that matter?
Right.
Like they should be interrupting these trios matches with Dark Order and Top Flight, whatever, and beating the shit out of them to wake them out of just being compliant with whatever they're doing, like to make them stand up to
You're
something.
pushing
right?
the Rock and Roll Express to a new level. Like they were,
right.
They're not grabbing the brass ring. Is that
right? Like I liked it when he was pushing Cassidy to his breaking point, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like kicking Darby down the stairs. That works.
Yeah.
I like that. That is a good thing to do.
It was like, hey, lazy Orange Cassidy, you shouldn't be lazy. Hey, Darby Allin, who splits his time doing all kinds of other things, you shouldn't split your time.
Exactly.
And then it's now just like,
and even
normal.
with the four-way, I thought the thing with like their egos getting in the way of working together, I thought that was a great motif, and they didn't stick with that enough. Because when like they actually tried to illustrate that, like in the trios match they had before World's End, I think that actually worked, right? But like you're saying, you just highlight right there. I think the Cassidy one especially was really great because the lazy character is holding him back from really getting a success and reaching his goals.
And that's the type of thing that was pissing Moxley off to get to this point.
And that made sense. And the Darby thing, I don't even think I mentioned it, right? But that's a great way to put it too. Like you're focused on doing these skateboarding things and climbing Mount Everest and doing all this crap that you can't lock in and get to the world title and beat Moxley, which he's never done, right? I like stuff like that. You could...
and then they just seem to regress to just a normal heel faction.
Right. And so, like, I have no problem with them beating the crap out of the roster, but it needs to have a point to it, right? And so I liked it when they did it with those guys. With Jay White, I'm not sure what angle you could pitch. And maybe it's just because Jay White's gunning for the belt. You can have that sometimes, but I don't think it should be with Edge. I just want them to start beating the crap out of people and really give people a reason to, like, stand up to them again, because right now it's just like they're targeting Edge and his friends. So if you're,
and it looked like the whole Death Riders thing was to snap the young generation out of it and get them motivated, and now you're focusing on Edge and Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, right. And to me it feels so isolated where he's going after rated FTR, but so to me it's the difference between the prime Death Riders and current Death Riders. It's like in the beginning, Dark Order and Top Flight had a reason to get involved, right? Private Party and Dan Garcia had a reason to get involved, but now it's like, why would they care? They're just being up Edge in the FTR. Unless you're friends with them, why would you care? You know what I mean? Like, Daniel Garcia, he's doing his own thing. He's fine because Death Riders aren't going around pillaging everybody. They're just focusing on an Edge and FTR and Jarrett, if you want to include him. Top Flight and Dark Order, obviously they're not getting on TV every week, but they have that mob that was outside Dynamite the 1 week, right? Mm-hmm. They have no reason to care because they're just focusing on these one groups. It's not like Moxley's running around beating up Top Flight and Dark Order and Private Party and Mark Briscoe and the Conglomeration, all these guys. Like, you could be doing that, and I think you should be doing that, but like, you're not.
I know.
And so it's just, I don't know.
He should have just rolled in pissed off specifically at the younger generation and how I hear all this crap about these pillars and blah, 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 and none of them can beat me, and I need to unlock whatever they need to do to get to that level because they're all distracted.
Which I think is how it started, for sure.
And now it's just like, no.
Yeah, it feels like they lost sight of it, and they need to kind of get back on track.
I agree.
Especially if Darby is the end game, and I think he still should be. But it depends on what his Everest business is.
Yes. Overall thoughts. I don't think there was any match that was awesome. Like, I liked the Hurt Business match just because I think that's what had to happen. But it wasn't an amazing match or anything.
Yeah, because it's not as a wrestling match as on par as something great.
Main event, same thing. Like, Swerve versus AR Fox might have been the most entertaining, and we still pretty much knew what was going on there. So, and again, a lot of Jarrett, right? A lot. Then we get some Jericho.
I think at the least we had some good segments here. Like, I thought the Daniels angle was actually surprisingly good. I really liked the opening segment.
Yes, me too. I'm going to go B- just because there wasn't any in-ring stuff I loved. But yeah, you're right. I like the opening segment quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I was almost going to go B, but the in-ring stuff wasn't, there was no standout to me. And then the Jericho business, even some Edge stuff really brings it down.
Brings down the average, for sure. All right, we'll take a break from talking AEW, or maybe we won't. We'll see what my topic is. But we're going to move into our trivia segment that we like to call Off the Top of His Head. All right, you're probably going to be a little annoyed with me. You ready for this one?
Sure.
I use some popular AI program for this again to give me help. We are going to take a look at Jeff Jarrett's greatest opponents because to honor his farewell tour, and you're a huge fan, so I thought we would go into this. So the hardest part is gonna be me having to eliminate people's names because it's got the top 15, right? So starting at 15, so I'll give you the hints and I think they're reasonable. A recurring rival in WCW and TNA. This person's size and personality created a natural foil for Jarrett's brash, cocky heel persona. So a big person, WCW, TNA, a big person with charisma and personality.
Kevin Nash.
Correct. Very good. See, I think it'll work. So 14. Their feud in WWE never reached its full potential, but their early clashes and USWA and brief interactions in WWE highlighted their contrasting styles. Not as much given there, I don't think.
Shawn Michaels?
No.
Then we had, I think, not Lawler, because he was USWA, I think.
But keep that energy for later.
What?
You just said one that comes up later. So this is one of the biggest stars of all time for WWE.
Bret?
No.
Austin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had any interactions in WWE.
So this one, I think you'll get off the first 3 words. Number 13. In Memphis wrestling,
Lawler.
Jarrett's rivalry pivotal in shaping his early career. Blah, blah,
If only
blah.
he had rambled about it on national TV recently.
Right. Number 12. Jarrett and this person had intense technical matchups in WCW,
Bret?
showcasing this person's grit and Jarrett's cunning as a heel.
Bret?
Right country, wrong person.
Benoit?
Benoit. Redacted. Number 11. In TNA, so that
Gross.
narrows it down. Another top babyface challenging Jarrett's dominance. Their matches were high-stakes affairs that elevated TNA's status.
Sting?
No. It was a former WWFer.
Raven?
No.
Rhino?
He's in AEW now.
Edge?
Christian.
Damn.
Close. Number 10. Jarrett's feud with this person culminated in a groundbreaking Good Housekeeping match.
China?
Correct. Number 9. Rivalry in WCW over the World Heavyweight Championship marked Jarrett as a top-tier competitor and this person as a rising star.
Booker T?
Correct. I thought you were going to need more than that. Number 8. In WCW, Jarrett and this person feuded over the World Heavyweight Championship, showcasing a clash of styles and charisma. That's
Hogan?
not that useful, no.
Bret?
A guy that briefly was in WWF and then, they killed his career, basically.
Buff Bagwell?
No, DDP.
Oh.
Their early partnership in WWF, or E, or whatever it was, dissolved into a feud.
Road Dogg?
Yes. What was his name then?
Brody?
Correct. Number 6. One of Jarrett's defining opponents in TNA, this man represented the younger generation, often challenging Jarrett's dominance as the company's top heel.
AJ Styles?
Correct. Good. Number 5. This one you should get. This person and Jarrett had a deeply personal rivalry in TNA, blending real-life drama.
Angle?
Correct, yeah.
As soon as I heard deeply personal, it kind of had to be.
Number 4. A staple of WCW and later TNA, this man was a major rival for Jarrett. Their clashes in TNA were often main events and helped define the promotion's early years.
Sting?
Correct. Very good. Number 3. Jarrett and this person had several feuds in WWE and WCW, including Jarrett's quest for the Intercontinental Championship, where their styles complemented each other.
Would it be Scott Hall then?
It is.
I was going to say it
Wow.
have to be. Michaels was in WCW.
Number 2. During their time in WWE, Jarrett faced this person in high-profile matches, including their memorable Intercontinental Championship.
That's Michaels.
That is. And at what event was that?
Inner House 4.
2. You don't even know wrestling. So number 1, his biggest rival, they're saying here, or greatest opponent. This person played a key role in elevating Jarrett during his early WCW days. Their battles were steeped in classic storytelling, with this person's charisma clashing with Jarrett's brashness.
Is it Flair?
It is Flair.
I didn't know they had a feud, so
But as soon as they hit the charisma and it's his number
you
one
can just
feud,
assume like in
their
elevating
time
him,
periods,
yeah, right. Like it just, I mean, you could tell me that they had a feud, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, but I didn't remember anything specific
So
about it.
you did really well because I just picked that to kind of be annoying, and then you actually knew a lot of the feuds. The descriptions weren't terrible, actually, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Nothing that sounded wrong either.
No, I don't think so. Wraps up our trivia. Send us back into talking about any other wrestling we thought was notable, worth mentioning this week. We call it Highspots and Restholds. So I guess we're going to start out with Raw. Did you watch any this week? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, you saw one match at least for sure.
Yep.
So this week, it went, by the time I got around to it, not live, it was a few seconds under 2 hours, which I feel like is great for me. And I think it's something I'm going to be mentioning each week because it seems odd that the length changes, right?
Not only changes week to week, but
changes
like
within the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the interesting part because not every region gets the same show apparently. So I get some extra stuff because
Which I think is also interesting.
What's played through commercials for places that don't have commercials.
It's because the Netflix thing has so many layers to it within like
regions.
They get commercials and like we get other stuff, right?
Yes.
Like, it's interesting.
So as the show opens, Nia Jax attacks Rhea Ripley backstage. Sure. Doesn't setting up a match I don't care about. We do get Jey Uso in the ring, made notable because Gunther interrupts him. So
did I see it this week? I don't remember.
Uso gets a really great reaction, as he always does, and then basically he starts saying that at Saturday night's main event he's taken home the title. Gunther interrupts. A little more details with this because I enjoyed it. Gunther was looking forward to squaring off against main event Jey Uso until today when Jey acted like a complete dork and the company mascot. Gunther could just as well be challenged by Jimmy Uso.
That's a fair point.
Right? Jey never follows up on his words, but the fans are naive enough to believe every word that Jey says, but Gunther does not believe it. Jey bets on himself until his cousin Roman, brother Jey, Sammy, or Cody need him, which makes Jey a useful idiot. Jey's words and actions do not align, but Gunther's do. He'll expose Jey for being a flash in the pan that has no business being close to the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey says that Gunther is right again. He's like, I am the mascot. I'm like, what are you doing? The guy just buried you. And then they're like, yeah you're right. That's
It'd be like when Cena's tearing apart Theory and Theory's just like, yeah.
It's like 2 weeks in a row where he's like, everything you said is correct.
He's like trying to put a positive spin on it, but like
it's not working for me. But it's funny because I don't like him, and it's just Gunther destroying him every week, and I'm here for that.
He's just like, you can't wrestle. He's like, yeah, I can't wrestle, but they like me.
You're right.
He could say that, right?
He literally said, I am the mascot, but I have the fans that ride with him, and whether he beats Gunther for the title, Gunther will put respect on Jey's name, and there's only one of them who main evented WrestleMania, and it ain't Gunther. So that Gunther prompts an attack from him, but he ends up getting super kicked out of the ring. Jey holds up the title. Really good reaction from the fans. Lays it down on the mat. Gunther kind of reaches into the ring to grab it, sort of showing he doesn't want to get back in the ring and face Jey. So again, I loved Gunther here. Not quite as strong as last week, but still like he's right about everything. And Jey just has to stand there and take it and I guess agree with like that's his strategy. So
because it makes sense, you know.
It's like Gunther has been handed the Drew McIntyre, you're the heel that tells the truth and backs it up, which is a pretty awesome character to have.
And
right?
Jey Uso's CM Punk, where he's completely over but wrong.
Right. Yeah, very good. I would say that is apt. Not even JBL agrees with the New Day turning on Big E. So, because they're like, oh, JBL, if anyone understands what we did, it'd be you, because you're a monster in real life and a bully and whatever, right?
And a kayfabe, I guess.
Because he's like, yeah, I get it, because he's like, you know, you guys are in this group with this guy that's so much bigger and more muscular and charismatic than you, and blah blah blah. So, anyways, Kofi tries to pay him $2 as a to be their acolyte, as like a back to the APA days, which was actually a cool gimmick.
What's the deal with him in TNA too? Like
he was just there.
He's
right?
been there. He's been like clotheslining people for some reason.
From hell.
But it's like a short arm version now because obviously he can't run.
He's been to hell, I guess.
Like that's where he was born.
I guess
that's why he's such an asshole.
And I think he was on this show because of Texas. That's where they were.
And I guess now it doesn't matter if he goes to TNA too because it's like the partnership. So they
right,
can use
exactly.
They might even be able to call him JBL now. I don't know because they just call him John Layfield. John
Bradshaw. Layfield.
John Layfield. There. No, they just call him John Layfield because I think that's his name.
It seems like so. I was really obviously on board for the New Day turn. It was awesome. but now it kind of feels like they're spinning their wheels. It's just every week somebody else.
Well, because they
doesn't
need an actual
support them.
program to
They
go
do.
with, right? I think, though, that
It's
could also
coming
be
up.
why Big E's
I think it's coming up at the end of this.
coming
Did you hear?
in the Rumble. No, I heard he like almost dropped Ray.
So it's Mysterio and Kofi have a match. And ahead of the match, they show a bunch of people in the front row that I don't know. I think it's rodeo people because, you know, they're part of that.
Yeah.
Whatever. New Day cut off their theme and say they don't use it anymore. And I thought that was good heel heat, right? The fans to rob them of that theme that everyone enjoys. Kofi, I mentioned it before, is in black jeans now because heel.
Because heel.
Woods gets involved, tripping Ray. Woods gets thrown out. JBL's on commentary. It was actually funny a little bit. At one point, he was like, how do we even know this is Rey Mysterio? It's a guy in a shirt and a mask, right? So I thought that interesting. 10-minute match. Kofi goes for the SOS, but Ray counters it into a pinfall. Good TV match because they're both pretty talented guys, even if they're aging a bit at this point. Kofi losing satisfies the fans, I guess, and gives Kofi and Woods something to get more angry about. And Woods continues the attack on Ray after the match. LWO come out to help. Wild gets sent into the ring post before Kofi and Woods leave. So I think that's your program for New Day. Is that what you were hoping for? Sorry?
Yeah.
Right? So obviously that's going to get New Day a win because LWO just don't win.
Yeah, and I could see them feuding with Big E if he comes in the Rumble.
Right.
Honestly, this might not even be a feud. It might be like, oh, they have a match next week, and then we're done.
And then we're done.
Big E comes in the Rumble. We do that.
And then we're done.
Yeah.
So the next segment I made note of is, wow, is everyone in American made terrible on the mic other than Gable? Because Gable's back there talking about admitting he lost to Penta, and he has issues with luchadors in general. And he's going to go get Dom Mysterio to help him because
yeah,
he knows
I saw the thing where like
luchadors.
Dom said he knows a
He's
guy.
bringing one in.
Can't be Phoenix.
Somebody said because they use the word dark arts or something that it's Malachi Black because that's the name of his studio. His dojo or whatever.
But like, what does he have to do with luchadors
Nothing.
at all?
That's the only problem is that he's not.
He serves no.
Or did they sign that Dr. Wagner Jr. or the 3rd or the 10th or whatever?
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Anyways, so Ivy Niles says she's going after the Intercontinental title. Creed say they're entering their prime and are going to take the tag titles off somebody older, sort of thing. And Nile and the Creeds, I think it was actually Brutus and Julius, they all sounded really bad. They were plucked from NXT too soon. Creed's not due to ability, due to they just need to work on character and speaking. Nile, I think everything.
Yeah.
She has a great look, but everything needs.
Well, I think
work
that's
still.
why having the Creeds with Gable will be smart.
And then I think they
you
just
need
get
to book them legitimately.
like stunted on main roster because there's not time.
Also,
for
I
them
think
to
it's funny
develop.
that the rumors were to send them to SmackDown, and then it just turned out to be the Wyatts going to SmackDown.
Gone.
So I guess they're staying then. I was
Seems like it, yeah.
Unless
That's
you wanna
right. They
go-
were the early ones. Like they're getting them out of there
Right.
because they're B show material, but
Right.
whatever. Karrion Kross, and again, I think this is one of those. It's a commercial break for some, and he's just kind of like less scripted things. I feel like so he has his eye on a few people: Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Sami Zayn. He doesn't believe what Zayn says because he doesn't think Zayn believes what he says either. The Wyatts being sent to SmackDown has just pulled this story away from Kross. So this is his way of moving on.
Yeah, we
I
kind of
guess.
touched on that.
Right. So, and again, not everyone saw this, and it's one of those almost unscripted. Like they have, okay, it's almost like they did. I don't know if you never saw Curb Your Enthusiasm, but it's a comedy show, but
I know what it is.
they only
I
have
just haven't
bullets
watched any.
of like highlight points, and then
Yeah.
they're sort of unscripted, basically. Sami Zayn's in the ring talking about, only so many people become professional wrestlers. Even a smaller group become WWE superstars. Even a smaller group become.
I still find the term WWE superstars to just be kind of
Yes.
funny.
Even a smaller percentage become a top tier, like handful of the best ones, and I'm one of those. But I've never won the title, and I've wanted it since I was 14, et cetera, et cetera. The fans still support him anyway, which means more to him than the belt would. Kevin Owens comes out in a Bret Hart jacket to go with the title he's
I did
rocking.
see it's a pretty nice jacket.
And it's basically doesn't go where you think, right? He's like, oh, you're my best friend and my brother. And it's kind of like he's angling for help at some point because he's like, I'd know at the end of the day we'd both do anything for each other because we're brothers, right? So
Trying to angle him against Cody.
Right. Owens leaves. Zayn is kind of, again, left pondering someone else's words for the second week in a row. The Sammy part I thought was kind of boring, to be honest, and that's kind of rare for him. But I guess he's just given his motivation for wanting the title so badly. I just get annoyed because they missed the chance to put him, to give him the title, right? We had everything lined up perfectly. The crowd was like rabid for him to win it. and they didn't pull the trigger. So now I'm kind of like,
I do think that the timing wasn't great because of their end game,
yes,
which is
but
Cody.
I don't care
I just
about
don't
their
agree with their end game.
Right, that's my position too.
I think it should have been Sammy for sure.
I was definitely excited to see KO on Raw because he's one of the only things I feel like I'm missing by not watching SmackDown, but he didn't do a ton here. And again, it just sounds like he's trying to guilt Sammy into helping him if he needs it at Rumble against Cody, I would assume. And then maybe, are we going back to a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn program?
Hey, if Owens can't get a title match at Mania, I think that if you put some stock into them feuding again, there's never been a problem with that.
I agree.
There's never been an issue.
There hasn't. Both amazing storytellers, speakers, wrestlers. So like, I trust them to
absolutely just pull a good match out of their asses.
Yep, and a good
feud out of their asses,
like just a new spin on it or whatever.
Yeah.
Sheamus is talking about his chance to win the Intercontinental title at main event.
Zero.
Breaker interrupts him, calls him an old man, tells him to retire, says that this is the closest Sheamus will ever get to the title. So I like Braun. He just sounds like the confident badass. Like, you can have this match. I don't really care, right? Kind of doing what Gunther's doing too a little bit, but with a different edge to it. And Sheamus is the perfect, like, experienced veteran looking to get the last trophy in the trophy case.
Yeah.
And Breaker more than happy to deny him that.
Which I think has to be the story at some point. We kind of talked about it.
Kaiser insults Penta while being interviewed by Jackie. I think another one of the possible commercial interviews. Just setting up another opponent for Penta. It's too bad that's another match Kaiser loses, right? Because I quite enjoy him.
But a decent spot for him, I guess.
It is. He may be pigeonholed in that whole has great matches, doesn't need to win.
Yeah, I fear that being the case for a bit.
It's good for longevity with the company, as long as you don't complain about it.
Yeah, it's just like
not the best for him, because I see more in him than I think they do right now.
I agree.
Bayley and Nia Jax had a very ordinary match. Now,
I don't think they have good matches together.
Roxanne Perez is in the front row. That will matter to further her issues with Bayley. I'm going to be perfectly honest, and I'm not trying to be mean. I watched this at 1.25 speed, and Nia Jax at 1.25 speed is still, I would say, deliberate.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
At normal speed, she's slow, and at 1.25, she's deliberate. That's not an endorsement.
She's not good. People are stupid.
Pop-up Samoan drop, Annihilator. Jax wins after 14 minutes, which is too long, right? I think
too long
we can
for
all
an
agree.
Jax match, absolutely.
So at one point in the match, Bayley ends up slapping Perez, and then it's like security have to get a hold of Perez to get her out of there.
Yeah.
And as she's flailing to resist security, she like
kicks a fan over.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just saw a fan like fall over. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I saw her clock a fan.
Ripley comes down to try and fight Jax. Security separate them. Ripley announces that they're having a match at Saturday Night's Main Event. Cool.
Which is going to stink up the joint again.
Probably. Dom suggests to Judgment Day, or no, sorry, to JD McDonough, that he join JD for their match against the Viking Raiders since Balor is injured. Liv says, because again, she's still doing the mad, not mad thing with Dom. She hopes that this plan works out better than the plan for her against Ripley. Dom says he has an idea to make things up to Liv, and he leaves. And it's like, it's this weird spot where I remember why Liv got together with Dom. It was just to screw over Rhea Ripley. And now we're to believe that there's real tension between them and that she cares.
Stockholm syndrome or something like that?
Or she learned she loved him. Like,
I guess, but they just didn't show that.
It's just not working.
Or it's like you just spend so much time with him and it's like...
Because she was just using him, and that's when she was cool, right? And now, I don't know. This relationship is real, and Liv has just cooled off, I think, in all areas. Sammy and Seth Rollins have a quick interaction backstage that I liked. Sammy, remember last week Rollins said to him, when are you going to start focusing on you? Because you're always helping everybody else. Sammy says he's been thinking about what Rollins said last week. And they seem like they're cool with each other. And then, but they have this moment of like, Rollins is like, but if push comes to shove, like, I will absolutely throw you out of the Rumble. And Sammy's like, obviously I will too. So I kind of like that, right? And I think you see Cross lurking in the background here.
I did see that.
He mentioned them earlier, right? So it looks like he needs to latch on to something to do right now. Since everyone he's ever touched has gone to the other show.
Or like everyone he touches turns heel or something like that.
That's sort of, yes, they all are changed like Bray Wyatt.
Or like, yeah, he's like taking credit for that. Like, I'm like, dude, nah, you're not that good. But I could see him feuding with Sammy. I guess like I don't want to feud with Rollins because I feel like it's a waste of Rollins' time.
I think Sammy looks like the focus.
Yeah, I could see it.
It could work. Sammy can make it work.
Yeah.
Then this is, I know what you saw was the Penta Pete Dunne match. So what did you think of that?
I thought it was pretty good. Like Dunn got in control most of it.
He did.
Because Penta's obviously getting the babyface comeback and then he gets the win. So I'm okay with that just because then Dunn gets to look pretty good. And I thought he did.
He did.
Like I thought it was a decently competitive match. Dunn was targeting the arm and the fingers most of the time.
Yeah.
Penta didn't kick out of the bitter end because he didn't hit it, so that's fine.
I like that too. They had 10 minutes, which I think is
it was
nice.
a solid 10-minute match. Like, yeah, like it's a good way to introduce Penta to people and kind of have him look again. Kind of gets Gable and Dunn to benefit a bit by not getting squashed.
Yes, and I like this.
I think that's okay.
You're establishing Penta as like he's facing guys have really competitive matches but pull out wins instead of like squash. You
just need to make sure that you can parlay this into a decent feud so that people actually will take more interest in him instead of it just being like match.
And then obviously Kaiser's lined up next, which is another in a series of technicians sort of thing.
It's kind of what they've done with Machine Guns, where it's just been like matches and like you need more of a story to like a tangible story to get into. So they just need to kind of follow up and carry the momentum with Penta because I think like they're starting out pretty well. Yes,
I'm wondering if whoever Dominic's luchador is that going to be in a more extended program for Penta?
Could be.
I don't know.
I don't know who the hell that could possibly be.
Either. I don't have a clue either. So they do mention here, this is where commentary mentioned that these two faced each other in Rev Pro, like by name. I was surprised.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. I was like, I did think that was weird too.
Cole has to keep mentioning the Butch gimmick.
There was no mention of it.
And he's doing things like the crowd won't leave him alone, and nobody's saying anything to him.
I'm grateful for that. No one was mentioning it this week, other than I honestly didn't really pay attention to the commentary mentioning it.
Yeah.
So at least they didn't really do it this week in terms of the crowd. I mean,
no, they didn't.
So I'll take it.
So Penta hit all of his stuff. He hit the powerbomb backbreaker thing, the destroyer, the arm snapping thing, the Penta driver,
the sacrifice.
Really good match to keep Penta's momentum going. And again, Dunn got a lot in this and looked really good. So
yeah, I liked it.
I like the choices they're making so far. Logan Paul with just a really smarmy heel thing saying, I'm coming to Raw. Too bad for the haters, because when I decide to do something, I'm the best at it.
Dude's but again, good, so he's a decent get.
So easy to hate. And it, for sure reeks of being on Raw on Netflix, right?
I do hate him, but I do like him at the same time.
I know.
It's difficult for me to grapple with.
As we always like to say, in a vacuum, as a wrestling person,
he's good.
He is a great heel and a very athletic. Like, he's going to be excellent in the ring if he stays dedicated.
Maybe he's changed as a person. I haven't seen much to suggest that, but he's still good.
I've been drinking some of your brother's Prime sticks. I feel guilty because they're kind of delicious.
I refuse to drink Prime. It's not good.
It's kind of delicious.
No, Prime's disgusting.
I hate myself every time. I'll probably take one to throw darts tonight.
No, it's gross.
Anyways. Punk talks about how he'll win the Rumble, refers to several superstars like Cena, Reigns, and Drew. He even said he'll throw out Hogan's dusty old ass if he entered, which I thought.
Can't lie, that's funny.
Some of Punk's views on things I agree with, which is a tough.
That's fair. I'd be inclined to agree too.
Like, he's anti-Hogan, anti-going to Saudi. There's certain stances he takes that I'm like.
I just don't like him as a person.
I know.
It's I agree with like some of his views, just not views on people in wrestling, like Hangman, because I think Hangman's a gem.
So this was, again, another during commercial thing with Jackie Redmond.
Yeah,
Jackie Redmond's really good. I've said it before. She's
cool.
Good.
She was one that was around like a while back, I think.
Yeah,
right? She's been here a while.
Came from Canada. Fine, pointless match between Damage Control and PFC, which is what?
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's right. Stark, you saw the clip.
Go around, yeah.
I rewound, and she almost
drilled
absolutely
Dakota Kai.
Killed Dakota Kai with a missile drop. And I know you see missile drop kicks all the time.
This was a missile if there ever was one.
I thought then because they did go to like a rest hold kind of thing, and I was wondering if she got her bell rung because she got absolutely drilled by that. But
yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Obviously, we had to have Shayna Baszler take the moonsault from Io in the loss after 7 minutes.
I follow this one guy now. I think the account's called Lemon Cast. A shout out to him, but like he's posted stuff about Pete Dunne and like something about Baszler taking the pin here, and like exactly what I've been saying. Like so because we saw Charlotte is entering the Rumble again, to flashback to 2020, I will never forgive them for that. And I know I mentioned it recently too, but I'll never forgive them for that because that was outrageous. She won from number 30, remember, and then she challenged for the NXT belt for some reason and beat Ripley. Remember?
Yep.
And
of course,
Baszler. No, sorry, she didn't come in as a number 30, but Baszler came in at number 30 and still lost, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. And then she vampired Becky Lynch and lost at Mania.
That's right. She ate her face.
Ate her neck.
Yes.
Okay. And it's just ridiculous because Baszler was the best. Baszler's so good.
I came out of this going, what is the point of Sonya Deville?
What's the point of that group?
So you're the leader of a heel group that never accomplishes anything.
And
At
you
some point,
suck.
shouldn't they just be like, we want nothing to do with you? Because Stark and Baszler could be a cool, badass tag team.
Or
Clearly, this leadership is not working for them.
I don't even care if they're a cool tag team. I don't want Baszler in a tag team because those belts mean jack all.
But I feel like they're about to put them on Lash and Miss Jackson, and then they're gonna have them go around NXT because there's a bit of a division there right now.
That's fine, but then don't have Baszler there because it's beneath her.
Okay, I think so, but nobody else seems to.
No, they're all stupid, right? A bunch of rubes.
Another good main event, though. This is something the Netflix are giving us because they just keep putting people in who aren't going to have a bad match, right? So it's Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, really good TV main event.
Just a lame finish.
Drew hit Rollins with 2 clotheslines in a row. Seth countered a third one into a jackknife pin, as you said. Not the most satisfying. After 17 minutes. And Drew's enraged after the match, obviously attacks Seth, hits a Claymore. Sammy comes out to try and make the save, takes a Glasgow kiss, calls Seth.
I still love that name. That's a cool
and he's
name.
telling him, you're so selfish. You're so selfish. Well, he has Seth in the corner. Zayn tries to nail Drew with a haluva kick. Drew moves. Sammy kicks Seth to end the show. So again, all of the issues within these people mixing around,
Kind of like
heading
what we were
into
talking
a
about
Rumble.
on Dynamite.
Yeah, I like
That's
it.
true. Actually, that's even better for the Rumble because
Like who's helping
having
who,
stories in
who's
there.
betraying who now has tension.
Well, and you have to think about that Roman's in there, right?
Yes.
So then, because he's never around, but he has been talked about.
And Seth and Sammy were cool early in the show, but are they now? Sort of thing, right? Like I like what they're doing
That's
for the
true.
Rumble.
And you have Punk and Drew can reunite
Exactly.
in there. Punk and Cena.
Punk and everybody. Punk has issues
Punk
with
and
everyone.
everyone. Cena and Roman.
Yeah.
Obviously Jay and Roman, like even though they're chill now, that's still a dynamic to be in play. Nakamura and Cena, because Nakamura dropped Cena on his head in 2017.
He did. So there's lots of stuff going around.
Crazy
it could be
that,
a good
like,
Rumble.
In all those people that you have former Rumble winners, and like you have Cena and Roman and Rollins, Nakamura. Like the fact that he won a Rumble is crazy to me because that feels like so not
Otis
real anymore. Otis won Money in the Bank.
Oh right, sorry, I was thinking of that. Damn it.
It's same thing though, like same idea. Honestly, like it's crazy to me that that Nakamura's a Rumble winner and Asuka.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of interesting to me. Is there any other Rumble winners? No. Oh, Drew, I guess. Drew was actually a good one, though, because he won the Lesnar one that we redacted, that we liked, the cool one.
Yes, where he just eliminated everyone for the...
Yeah, and then Ricochet kicked him in the dick, and then he got Claymore.
He was a heel back then.
He was...
Before inventing AEW.
No, I think that was after AEW was invented.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was in 2020. That was a good thing, though, because he booted Lesnar in the balls, so like that's not a bad thing.
It's good for humanity.
Yeah, it's good for humanity.
NXT was only an hour and 17 minutes this week. Super manageable.
Hour 17?
That threw me back to like, remember how fast NXT UK was?
Yeah, like, or even pre-network NXT.
Yeah.
Like, network TV, I mean.
Yeah.
Network NXT, I guess, if you want to count WWE. It depends on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm. So Tony D. Ridge Holland for the North American title opens the show.
Bah.
Sean Spears is watching the match. The match is just getting going when Jensen and Nico show up. Not that anyone on commentary knows their names, but they just mention them as like Spears guys.
Spears boys.
Right. The family start brawling with them. That distracts the ref. Izzy Dame comes from the other side and hits Holland with actually a pretty nice looking boot, I must say. Tony immediately hits the spine buster that I guess is the forget about it now, and wins in 8 minutes.
Yeah, because they can't decide.
Right. And I think Rizzo, remember, it didn't make much sense, or it didn't feel like she needed it, but Rizzo was being approached by Spears and Izzy Dame was like, hey, leave her alone.
Right.
And was like, so now Dame owed the family a favor from that.
How does that make her owe?
Or sorry, Spears was after Dame and Rizzo said.
No, Spears was talking to Rizzo and Dame came in because Spears had already approached her earlier.
So anyway.
Because remember last week, it's Spears is talking to Rizzo and she doesn't want it. Dame comes in saying Rizzo, like, don't eat her because she also doesn't like Spears because Spears had approached her prior. Don't know how I remember this better, but that's just how we roll.
Dame owed them a favor and this was her doing them a favor.
See, what I don't understand is she came in to help there. I don't understand how Dame owes them a favor.
Because you could hear Izzy Dame like off mic, but saying we're even now.
But like I don't understand how the logic is that like
either.
she owes them a favor from helping. Like she's owed a favor.
It wasn't Rizzo coming up and saying, "Hey, leave her alone."
No, it was the other way
Hey,
around.
leave her alone.
Forget about it. No, It was no, because I remember Dame came in because the Spears has been trying to recruit her for a few
Right.
weeks, right? So I don't
I
know.
thought in my mind it was the other way around. So
That
this
would
made
make
more sense.
that would make more sense,
Yeah.
but I don't think
So
that's what happened.
to be fair, Izzy Dame's involvement would circle back around later in the show and sort of tease a new direction for the family, which isn't a bad idea, just to do something new. The match itself was fine, but it was like just getting going, and it was more about all the extracurricular stuff. So it's fine. Do you think this continues then?
There's gonna be
Tony and
something, yeah.
I think it's there. I think Holland takes it from him, and then Tony moves on to the
Mhm.
main title, but we'll see. Wesley and his group are trying to bully Dion Lennox in the locker room until Trick walks in. He's looking all salty from losing his belt, obviously. They turn their attention to him. I think Wes says one thing, like calls him the former champ, and Trick just immediately slaps him in the face. Um, and man, you said something as a crutch earlier. I can't remember what you're talking about.
Oh, what was I talking about? Oh no.
So the locker room stuff in NXT is such a crutch for the writers. I feel like it's all over the women's division every week, multiple times, and we get an extra dose of it here in the men's locker room. So, and I guess this is to show that Trick is like volatile and brooding right now.
What did I say? I can't remember.
And this leads to a match with Lennox and Lee too. You said they use something as a crutch.
I know. I'm trying to think of it now. Was it the up and down the road?
I can't remember.
Because that is a trope, but like
I don't think
I used it in
this
that
episode.
context though.
We get Bailey to the ring to reminisce and put over current NXT product. Roxanne Perez is entitled and not ready for main roster. She's not ready to be a leader, and she specifically named some baby faces, including Julia. Julia comes in then to tell Bailey that no matter what, she looks up to her and she honors the title. Bailey says when Julia won the title, the landscape of the women's division, she changed the landscape, not just in NXT, but in WWE in general. Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade come out. Perez mocks Bailey's recent record. I think she's lost a couple matches lately. She thanks Bailey for her service, but tells her she's no longer needed. NXT right now has exceeded the 4 horsewomen era. And then they start fighting, and the heels end up sort of slinking away. So the crowd was, I don't know if you saw any clips of this. They were booing Jade and Perez like Dominic Mysterio levels almost.
I did hear about
New
that.
Day
I don't think
levels
I saw
almost. And so this was obviously a generic like tag team setup between the heels and the faces here, but
Yeah.
it does continue the Bailey and Perez stuff. And I think there was a chance that the crowd was so loud here that this played out differently than it should. If something felt off, like maybe they audibled a bit or got a bit sidetracked because the crowd were like, we're not going to let you speak. So if you're trying to get some narrative going, we're not hearing it. So I feel like something was off. But anyways, and then they kept this pull-apart brawl going right through the next segment, so I won't hit it again, but it happens for a long time, just so you know if you're wondering. And then, surprise, we're in the women's locker room where Jada Parker, I love Jada Parker, and I thought, just roasted Kalani Jordan here, because I think their names were both mentioned by Bailey in the ring, and then they sort of go back and forth a bit, and Parker ends up saying, like, something about this new attitude, like air quotes, right, that you're showing. You need to sort of be careful because you're talking to a real, like, somebody who really is that way, like the way you're pretending to be. I really am. So you need to like watch yourself.
She got a new theme too,
which is cool. Jada's awesome. Carmen then walks by and she's like kind of love struck now because she's with Adonis, obviously. Jada cuts her off and says something about Carmen finally getting a kiss from a guy that's going to leave her in 3 months anyways, and then they're sort of shoving each other. So it's just
girl fight.
Jada Parker sounding real and just like tearing everyone apart, and I'm here for it all day long. Wesley surprisingly beat Dion Lennox in 2 minutes. Cardiac kick. Lennox, what is it? He just simply the one where they're running at and he just throws him, pops him up, like launched the man super far.
He has glasses.
And Wesley, they were telling us, has Trick's handprint across his face still at this point. So Lennox has a good look, right? He's kind of built like Cena and he's super athletic. It's just like I said, this time it wasn't as bad as like, it's like hip toss, clothesline. It's all the basic stuff. Then Lee talks after the match about beating Trick next week. Trick comes out, clears Lee from the ring, gives Lee the match next week. And he's even so angry that when he walks out, he bumps into the babyface Dion Lennox. So it's like Trick is just like pissed at the world right now. which I guess is something different.
I guess.
We get a Vakur interview. She basically lets us know for sure she's staying at like the North American title level for now. She's coming after
Since
Shotzi
she
and
got
Henley.
beat by Shotzi for a title shot.
But she sounds like a badass and she can back it up. So I think she's great for NXT. And we could have her and Julia as their champions. That's a pretty strong, I think. Heritage Cup match.
Zaria goes for one of them.
Heritage Cup match that pissed me off slightly. It's Lexis King, Charlie Dempsey with the normal rules intact, even though I thought they didn't, because I'll explain why in a minute. So Miles Bourne, Tavion Heights, Ren Sinclair are there in Dempsey's corner, and they make sure they let us know that no one is in Lexis King's corner. At one point, they go to an awkward camera angle to show us that there's brass knuckles in King's bucket in the corner, just in case. Dempsey looked great because, and he hit some really high angle stuff to King and a lot of cool submissions. So the idea was that he's so dominant in this that King needs to cheat, which he finally did, right? So he ends up mule kicking low and then hitting his finisher for the win. And I was confused because I did not, in the version I saw, the 2 falls leading to this were during a break that I didn't get, and there was no mention of it, no recap of it.
So it was like you got the same match as last week almost.
So I didn't notice on the screen was the falls count 1-1, but we come back and it's like King cheats, hits his finisher, it's over, and I'm like, what? We're doing 1 fall? Like it's a normal match? What's happening?
That's why you can't do his matches on TV, because now it's even worse.
It was very frustrating. Anyways, Lexis King ends up cheating to win, so that was the bottom line in this. So it looks like it's not a full heel turn yet, but it's basically like he cheated by accident last time and on purpose this time. So it looks like what we all kind of knew was coming is coming. Yeah. And we'll see. I still thought they might switch his name back. I'm less confident in that. But they were mentioning his dad so much every week that it felt like they're not doing that for no reason. Anyways, Hank and Tank ask Andre Chase backstage why he bailed on their team a few weeks ago. Chase is basically all still disheveled and depressed and says all teams eventually break up. At some point, you have to look out for yourself. And you can see Kalani Jordan is kind of back within earshot, hearing this whole, like, you've got to do things for yourself kind of. So that's obviously feeding into her character. I think Hank and Tank, as he's walking away, as Chase is walking away, that is, are like, well, we're not going to break up. So then Chase walks on and people are just randomly, as you do, watching a bunch of Chase U highlights where Andre Chase, you know, when he yells and swears at everyone in the classroom.
Just wanted to reminisce, you know.
And Cale Dixon's there again, and he comes up and says that Chase is a badass. And Chase corrects him and says he was a badass and that Chase U is dead. Chase walks away as Cale says, it doesn't have to be. So what happens here?
New Chase U. You know, call it Chase New.
But all the other people in Chase U have just disappeared since. So, like, no, oh my God, I almost called her Alexa Bliss. No Thea Hale, no Duke Hudson, no Riley Osborne. So, are they resurrecting it?
Hey. So, they said that version of Chase U had to disband. They never said if it extends to the student body or not.
Right.
So, you could say that the entire student body disbanded. Now, he has to form an entirely new student body. Because that form of Chase U can't exist. Maybe that doesn't just extend to the wrestlers.
Right.
Like, all of the people, you need new student body, new everything.
Because Chase isn't allowed to, that was Holland's thing, right? Like, you're not to interact. I'm taking away your relationships. I'm not just, because it was all like, you can take the university. And he's like, no, you're ending all these relationships with these people too.
He needs new students.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. Jada Parker unfortunately loses to Carmen Petrovich, but it's because Kalani Jordan gets up on the apron, distracts Jada.
It was dumb though. She's like running for her move and then she just stops.
The distraction roll up gets us all. It's coming for us all.
Yeah. I've seen people call it a fruit roll up.
At the end of the day, Parker got her stuff in, and the loss is because she's moving on to someone bigger like Kalani, so I'll forgive it. Gives Carmen a win and a chance to celebrate in the ring with her new boyfriend, so I get what they were doing here. This is a complaint of mine. Zaria's in these backstage, like in the locker room segments. I hate the role they have her in. She's just like another babyface hanging out in the locker room, like she's Sol Ruca or Brindley Reese.
She's not this apocalyptic big person.
Right, but she's this cool-looking badass, and she's just behaving like the rest of the developmental women, and it's just really disconnecting for me and disappointing. So she and Ruca talk to Lash and Jackson, like, hey, the opportunity you have, you got a really big opportunity in this tag thing. And Lash says, that when they win, you all can have title shots just as Gigi and Paxley with their dolls walk by and say, "Oh, we like the sound of that." So again, it's this whole idea that there's, I guess, Ruka and Zarya can still work together, and you've got Paxley, and so you have a little tag division. So again, I feel like they're going to bring the tag titles down there for a while. We'll
Yeah.
see. Jensen and Vance, Nico beat Stax and Crucifino in 4 minutes. Jensen with a Jensen spinning heel kick and then a Vance just lariat.
I
Like
saw that
clothesline
was
from
the
hell.
lame finish, I thought.
But I will say kind of similar to, I feel like it's Crucifino but bigger. You know how I'm like, Crucifino always seems really aggressive and intense. I would say
Yeah.
the same about Vance, but he kept things pretty simple. Like there was not a lot of finesse to his game at this point, but could still work. He's got good size to him. So Tony D'Angelo was conspicuous by his absence here, and we later learned, did you hear where he was? Because backstage, Stax is like, Don, where were you? We needed you out there. And he's like, Izzy Dame wouldn't stop talking, and what am I supposed to do? Basically, was his excuse. So
That's odd.
Stax is annoyed by this and says they needed Tony's help and he wasn't there. And Tony says Stax has been the underboss, I think he said, for over a year, and you should be able to handle these things on your own. So we're finally getting tension between the group, and it's the age-old story of like a woman coming between them, right?
NXT's never done that before.
So no. Do you think Tony would be better off going to main roster by himself
Yeah, because he's probably the most ready.
as the same gimmick though?
Okay, so I don't think that gimmick's ready for main roster ever, but I also don't know if they're gonna change it. So like he in ring and character wise, like he's probably would fare the best.
Because if they send the whole group, like Rizzo is nowhere near being
Exactly.
ready.
I don't even think Stax. And
I think
Luca
Stax is. Crucifino, I think, is somewhere in between. I think he could use. I think Stax is cool. But I don't know, man. Like, it's interesting.
I think his name sucks though, because if you take out Stax, his name is Channing Lorenzo.
We're finally teasing some dissension in this group of mobsters, so we'll see where it goes. Briggs and Inamura are annoyed with Fraxium for ignoring them. Inamura even suggests that Fraxium are ducking them, and that's when Fraser's like, "I'm sorry, who exactly have you beaten? Like, you deserve a title
Has he
shot.
even had a
Why?"
match yet?
I don't remember.
He was in the Battle Royal, I think that was it.
And OTM attacked Briggs and Inamura, so I guess we know exactly who Briggs and Inamura are going to beat to get a shot, right? It feels like. I like that Fraser stood his ground here, kind of like standing up to bullies. Like, you can't just tell us you get a title shot. You haven't done anything, which
Or like
was
demand a title
very
shot.
fair. Did you see the Ethan Page vignette?
Mm-mm.
I would check it out. So he's now like super intense, and right, so he broke Cedric Alexander's hand, broke Javon Evans' jaw, and broke Dante Chen's foot, ankle, whatever it was last week.
Mhm.
So he's basically talking about how he's learned that he likes the sound of snapping bones. And I think the line he said was something like, Dante Chen thought he had like moral high ground to stand on, and now he can't stand at all, which I thought was a pretty good line. Anyways, bottom line, he's just saying that next time he faces Evans, he's not going to stop because he's just realized he loves hurting people. There was a lot more than that I'm summarizing, but it was really good. And so Paige hurting 3 people, realizing he enjoys it, simple way to like energize him, right? And give him a serious character. And then, I don't know, he can even, if you really want, he can put Evans over, but be happy that he basically beat the hell out of him and almost killed him.
Yeah,
'Cause
and I think
that's
that
what he's more
benefits,
into,
at the
right?
very least, it benefits Javon.
Remember JD McDonough's gimmick in UK that I liked?
It
Where
was
he'd
in,
literally
that was
tell
when
you.
that was in Maine when he came to
Was
Maine.
it?
Yeah.
Where he tells you how he's going to hurt you and like uses medical terms and stuff.
Yeah, because I remember he changed that when he changed his name.
Yeah. And then just after that, we find out that Cedric is back and he claims that he's going to deal with Paige, which obviously that's a gatekeeper scenario, so that's fine. And I would love if Paige beats him so bad he's back on the shelf. Like hurt Cedric again before getting to Javon. Main event was kind of lackluster. It was okay at best. Obafemi, as expected, defeated Eddie Thorpe with the fall from grace after 8 minutes.
He doesn't do it as cool anymore. Like it's just a pop-up powerbomb. Like when he it's a falling powerbomb when he goes
Yes.
down with him. Like just for some more oomph.
Yes. Thorpe got Theory and Waller were watching from a balcony because I think
That's random.
I think the Grayson Waller effect's coming, and maybe Femi's on it next week, I think. Thorpe got in flurries, but Femi dominated with his power. Basic match, no shot Thorpe would win, or keep it competitive, really. So Trick heads to the ring to stare at Femi. Thorpe gets back up, so Trick puts him down with a trick knee, and then Trick and Femi stare. Trick shot. Trick and Femi stare at each other to end the show, so we're obviously going there, which is interesting. a Trick Femi singles match. Yeah, could be. Like, I think
Femi's
Femi's
good, but
he's not carrying Trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is weird to say that Trick's the one that needs to be carried because he's been there like 3 times longer than Femi.
Well, he sucks 3 times more than Femi.
Quickly, TNA, I watched a bit of Genesis. Won't take long. Ace Austin lost to Moose in a good opener for the X Division title. I quite enjoyed it. Moose ended up retaining, obviously. And I told you should check it out. The Jordan Grace, say whatever you will about her, Tessa Blanchard. Really, really good match. Jordan Grace has a new look. Blonde hair, looked really strange with bangs. You're going to love it. And no shame in it, just an observation. Both of these women have significantly less muscle mass than their peak. For whatever reason.
I'm going to be more noticeable on Grace because she was jacked.
Massive.
Yeah.
So this match built really well. Lots of high impact offense. I told you there was major turnbuckle issues. Tessa kept trying to rip off the turnbuckle. The bottom one a couple times couldn't get it off. The middle one couldn't get it off. Finally did. They ended up going through with the one spot where she still drove Jordan Grace into the turnbuckle with the pad still on it. And maybe they called an audible for the finish. Her finish is kind of looks nasty. It's oh my goodness, the Jericho's thing, Codebreaker off the ropes.
Oh yeah.
So they end up coming in at such a high angle that it looks pretty nasty.
That's not bad. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a good move, but not. I wouldn't use that as regular finisher because it's like I do something easier to kind of set up regularly.
That really good match though. It's on my list for women's matches already. And then we watched Fraxium and Rascals, right? Which I'll let you go ahead and talk about
nice.
that.
Like, it definitely was similar to the.
This was on the TV program
because they faced MSK on Great American Bash.
Yeah,
I think it was, but it was good. Like, they had a good style contrast. There's a couple of spots towards the end that were nice. The moonsault super kick catch.
Yes, the end picked up quite a bit.
Axiom caught Wentz like mid dive with a golden ratio that looked nasty.
Awesome.
Like, there was some really cool stuff towards the end. The finish was whatever because Wesley and his boys got involved because I guess Wes is gonna reignite the feud with
which makes sense because
that's fine. You can do that now, but
it kind of felt like they cut a really good match short and cheapened the finish a bit.
It does, but that's all right. It was a good match to kind of kick off the whole partnership thing.
And we can run this match back on a larger stage, right? So
I want
fun TV match.
Fraxium versus the North.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Feed families.
And then the only other thing I was going to mention was that Josh Alexander has not quite retired because I've told you it feels really very much like they're like, we don't want. He has meant a ton to that company. They don't want his.
He was huge for them, yeah.
Way out the door as this sort of, some people think, half-baked heel thing he was doing. So it's like he's ditched his little group.
They're gonna
face Eric Young
I'm
and
assuming
him.
He'll get a win to ride off in the sunset.
Right. So it sounds like it's like, hey, we want you going out as a baby face, so let us have another week or two to flip you and have you get out of here.
Yeah, that's nice, I guess.
Which is fine. So yeah, I watched a little TNA, which is pretty rare, but I don't have anything else. Any SmackDown tidbits?
No.
Any figuring stuff this week?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
A little bit.
All right, so we'll just tack it on right now. Figuring it out with Jack.
So I guess I'll show you the images, and if we feel like it, we can put them in.
Well, I can show you, and you can put them in. You don't work today.
If I feel like it.
I can learn you stuff. It's not hard.
But they have images for Unrivaled, AEW's Unmatched. I think it's 11, but they changed the packaging a bit because you know how they did the whole logo rebrand when they did the new Dynamite look?
Yeah.
And so their logo is just AEW and doesn't have the All Elite Wrestling border. So they've changed that, the packaging of the updated logo, and there's some like different like kind of patterns on the packaging. So like the images are a little different on the side, and it's a little refined. So like that's the Darby one, so it's like a little different. You won't notice it much, but
not much, no.
The shaping is generally the same. So the Darby's nice. I always like Darby figures. I'll try to get that eventually, but so we have Darby in like I think it was probably early 23 type attire, and he's got like a cloth coat this time. Usually they give him one of those stupid rubber coats that no one likes.
Right.
We got
I remember when you were really little and you could not put them on and off difficult. The figures. You'd go, Dad, can you do this for me?
Evil Sky Blue.
Oh my God, good for her getting a figure.
Yeah. Eye Patch Bryan Danielson.
Okay.
Yeah. Surfer Sting. For some reason.
Surfer Sting was dope looking.
Black
Young me thought he was
cool.
Gold
Jay White, which we got coming eventually.
There you go.
Love that. Then we got Ospreay from The Greatest Match Ever, which we got coming.
Nice. I saw that.
That's and then so there's Chase Sting. I think the Chase Sting is kind of cool because it's Blade Runner's Sting from when he had a team with Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, man.
Way back.
Rock and Boulder, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, I think he was Sting, and then I think
Boulder.
He was Rock, I think.
Rock?
I think
Oh,
so.
yeah, he was Rock. Rock and Boulder is... Am I mashing together them and Bear County?
Might be.
The two most iconic tag teams
Yeah, obviously.
of our lifetime.
So that's the rare edition, and then the chase is Jay White in black and white, which I probably would have not bought with because the chases I can't ever find. But he's got the Bang Bang shirt, and he comes with Card Blade.
Oh, Card Blade, you were a big fan of.
Great, everyone loves Card Blade, dude.
That's a funny gimmick.
That's beautiful. Like I'm gonna need to find that just for a Card Blade.
Good
like,
luck.
If it pops up on eBay, I will spare no amount.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I do still want that Darby, the one with the champ paint, but that one's like always
That's
gonna
your
be
white whale
ridiculously
still.
expensive. So it's like, and then there's Chase Takeshita, but realistically, it's just a black version of that, the one on the table. If you're not watching video, and so Card Blade, dude.
Yeah.
I could have an action figure cardboard cutout. That's hilarious to me.
You could.
And it's Card Blade.
It is.
So that's just awesome.
Oh, I thought we were wrapping up, but are we previewing Saturday Night's Main
If
Event?
you really want to.
Do you want to?
Not really.
Then we don't have to. We can just talk about it.
Also, don't even. I guess we can talk about it right now because I didn't even put the table up because the Wi-Fi was going out, so I just didn't make the time to
Yeah, that's fine.
Put crap out.
But what are the matches
so
fast?
I know there's Jackson Ripley, which is gonna suck.
Don't care.
It's gonna be Ripley.
Yeah.
Uso Gunther. Gonna be fine. Maybe it'll be Gunther.
Should be.
There's probably one other match that I'm not thinking of, and then there's Fatu and Strowman, which
I'll watch to see Fatu. How he deals
I'm not
with
fully
Strowman.
confident he'll win.
Oh, he'll win.
I'm gonna take Fatu, but I have my
Fatu
doubts.
wins for sure.
I have my doubts.
Really?
I don't trust them.
I do.
I don't fully
They
trust
know
them.
what they have in Fatu, and
They have been giving him promo time.
and Braun Strowman has done nothing.
Except for the Bronson Reed.
He doesn't even exist other
Braun.
than that.
Yeah.
But that was months ago.
That was months ago.
Yeah. So there's your preview of that. Amazing. But anyways, we're going to wrap up 2:36. We're coming in at 2 hours, 20 minutes right now. So that's about normal for us, to be honest. But so I will definitely watch Saturday Night's Main Event. Jack, I'm not sure if he will or not, but I'll have some thoughts on that maybe just quickly to begin episode 237. But we'll definitely be back down here to record that. So come back next Saturday or anytime you have the time. Listen to our show, comment if you'd like, give us feedback, like it, subscribe, whatever you do, wherever you're watching or listening. We really appreciate any time you spend listening to us. We'll see you back down here next Saturday. And until then, everybody, take care.